At my cousin's wedding reception in Dallas, Dad's voice booms across the decorated hall. You only sent 60 cents. His face reddens as 200 guests turn to stare. Sienna sends $5,000 every month to help us. My voice trembles as I say quietly, that was me sending the money. Mom's sharp laugh cuts through the music. Stop stealing your sister's credit, Breanna. My hands shake as I pull out my phone, cancel the automatic transfer, and walk out into the Texas heat. The drive back to Austin gives me 3 hours to think about how I ended up here, publicly humiliated at what should have been a celebration of family. My name is Breanna, and at 28 years old, I've spent my entire life in the shadow of my older sister, Sienna. Growing up in our 2-story house in suburban Houston, there was an unspoken rule that governed our household. Sienna could do no wrong. She was the firstborn, the miracle child my parents tried for 7 years to conceive. When I came along 2 years later, I was the unexpected addition, the one who complicated their perfect family portrait. The pattern started early. When Sienna was 7 and I was 5, she took Mom's pearl necklace to school for show and tell without permission. When it went missing, she told our parents I had taken it and lost it playing dress-up. I was grounded for a month, my toys taken away, while Sienna got a new doll for being honest about her sister's mistake. Years later, I found out from her friend Katie that Sienna had traded the necklace for a handful of candy and stickers. In middle school, Sienna discovered she could forge Mom's signature perfectly. She used this skill to skip classes, sign herself out early, and change grades on progress reports. When the school finally called about her excessive absences, she broke down in tears, claiming I had been forging the notes because I was jealous of her popularity. My parents didn't even question it. Dad drove me to school every morning after that, telling everyone it was to keep me out of trouble. The real turning point came when Sienna was 17. She had been dating Brett, a college freshman who worked at the local auto parts store. One night, she took Dad's brand new Ford F-150 without permission to drive to a party in Galveston. On the way back, likely impaired, though she'd never admit it, she wrapped the truck around a utility pole. The front end was completely crushed, and the truck was totaled. When the police brought her home at 3 a.m, she was already spinning her story. Through theatrical sobs, she told our parents that I had been pressuring her to go to the party, that I had threatened to tell them about her relationship with Brett if she didn't take me, and that I had distracted her while driving by arguing about which radio station to play. I had been asleep in my room the entire night, but that didn't matter. Breanna, how could you put your sister in danger like that? Mom had screamed at me, while Sienna sat wrapped in a blanket playing the victim perfectly. She could have died because of your selfishness. Dad's reaction was worse. He didn't yell. He just looked at me with such disappointment that I felt my heart crack. I thought I raised you better than this, he said quietly. Your sister has always looked out for you, and this is how you repay her. They grounded me for the entire summer before my sophomore year. No phone, no computer, no friends. Meanwhile, they bought Sienna a used Honda Civic, reasoning that she needed safe, reliable transportation after her traumatic experience. She drove it to parties every weekend while I sat in my room reading library books and planning my escape. My escape plan had a name: Rice University. I threw myself into my studies with the determination of someone who had nothing left to lose. While Sienna coasted through her senior year with C's and D's, I maintained a perfect GPA, joined every academic club I could find, and studied for the SATs like my life depended on it, because in a way it did. When the acceptance letters came, Sienna had been rejected from every 4-year university she'd applied to. Her grades were too low, her test scores abysmal, and her essay about overcoming adversity was clearly written by her boyfriend. She ended up at Houston Community College, which my parents spun as a smart financial decision and a chance for her to explore her options. My acceptance to Rice, on the other hand, was met with suspicion. How did you even afford the application fee? Dad asked, frowning at the acceptance packet. I had saved every dollar from babysitting jobs and tutoring younger kids in math. Sienna chimed in, suggesting I had probably manipulated my teachers into writing better recommendation letters than I deserved. But I went anyway. I packed my second-hand clothes into garbage bags, bought used textbooks with money I'd earned cleaning houses, and moved into the smallest dorm room on campus. For the first time in my life, I was free from the suffocating dynamic of my family home. College was where I discovered who I really was. Without Sienna there to sabotage every achievement, I flourished. I majored in computer science, made genuine friends who valued me for myself, and landed internships at tech companies that were impressed by my skills, not my family name. I worked 3 jobs to pay for everything: tutoring in the evenings, working at the campus library on weekends, and doing freelance coding projects late into the night. My parents rarely called, and when they did, the conversations always centered on Sienna, how she was struggling with her classes, which they blamed on her professors being unfair, how she needed money for textbooks, which she spent on clothes and alcohol, how hard it was for her to see her younger sister at a prestigious university while she was finding herself at community college. After 4 years of grinding, I graduated summa cum laude with a degree in software engineering and 3 job offers on the table. I chose a startup in Austin called TechFlow Solutions, partly for the exciting work and partly because it put another 200 miles between me and Houston. My starting salary was $75,000 a year. After living on ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches for 4 years, it felt like winning the lottery. I found a small apartment near downtown Austin, bought my first professional wardrobe from outlet stores, and started building the life I had dreamed of. But even with the distance, I couldn't shake the guilt. My parents were getting older. Dad's construction business, which had thrived during the housing boom, was struggling with increased competition and rising material costs. Mom had developed arthritis that made her job as a grocery store manager increasingly difficult. During one of our rare phone calls, I could hear the stress in their voices as they discussed which bills to pay first. That's when I made a decision that would eventually lead to my public humiliation at my cousin's wedding. I set up an automatic transfer from my checking account to theirs, $5,000 every month. It was more than half my take-home pay, but I made it work by keeping my lifestyle simple. I didn't tell them it was from me. I knew they would either refuse it out of pride or find a way to credit Sienna for it. So I made it anonymous, routing it through a series of transfers that would show up simply as monthly deposit on their statements. The first month after the transfer started, Mom called me in tears. But they weren't tears of relief or gratitude directed at me. They were tears of joy for Sienna. "Your sister got a promotion at her new job," Mom gushed over the phone. "She's been sending us money to help with the bills. $5,000, can you believe it? She's such a generous soul. I always knew she would come through for us." I gripped my phone so hard I thought it might crack. "That's wonderful," I managed to say. "What job is that?" "Oh, some consulting firm. She works from home, very modern. She said it's all very technical, we wouldn't understand. But isn't it wonderful? Your sister is finally living up to her potential." I knew for a fact that Sienna was unemployed, living with her latest boyfriend Marcus in a rundown apartment complex on the outskirts of Houston. Her Instagram, which she didn't know I followed from a fake account, showed her day drinking by the apartment pool and posting motivational quotes about manifesting abundance and attracting success through positive thinking. But I kept quiet. The important thing was that my parents could pay their mortgage, keep the lights on, and maybe even save a little for retirement. If they needed to believe it was Sienna helping them, so be it. I had long since given up on receiving their approval or recognition. For 3 years, I maintained this arrangement. Every month, $5,000 left my account. Every month, my parents praised Sienna for her generosity. They bragged about her to relatives, to neighbors, to anyone who would listen. Our Sienna, They would say, taking care of her parents like a good daughter should. Meanwhile, I advanced in my career, moving from junior developer to senior software engineer. My salary increased to 95,000, then 110,000. I could afford the payments more easily, even started saving for a house down payment. I dated occasionally, built a circle of close friends, and created a life that was entirely my own. But I should have known that Sienna would eventually find a way to exploit even this situation. I just never imagined how far she would go or how much it would cost me in the end. The morning after the wedding disaster, I wake up in my Austin apartment with the worst emotional hangover of my life. My phone has 47 missed calls and over 100 text messages. Most are from extended family members who witnessed the scene, expressing everything from shock to secondhand embarrassment to tentative support. I ignore them all and make coffee with shaking hands. At exactly 9:15, my phone rings again. Sienna's name flashes on the screen. Against my better judgment, I answer. "How dare you?" Her voice explodes through the speaker before I can even say hello. "How absolutely dare you embarrass me like that in front of everyone? Do you have any idea what you've done?" I set my coffee down carefully, afraid I might throw it at the wall. "What I've done." "Sienna, I've been sending that money for 3 years. You've been taking credit for my sacrifice." "Sacrifice?" She laughs, but it's not a happy sound. It's sharp and bitter like broken glass. "Oh, please, Breanna. You make good money at your little tech job. 5,000 is nothing to you. You probably spend that much on your fancy lattes and yoga classes. I live in a 600 square foot apartment and drive a 10-year-old Honda Civic," I say quietly. "I shop at discount stores and cook every meal at home. That $5,000 is more than half my take-home pay." "Well, that's your choice to live like a peasant," she snaps. "Some of us have higher standards. Some of us understand what it means to maintain appearances." Appearances, is that what this is about? There's a pause. When she speaks again, her voice has shifted to something more calculated. "You want to know the truth? Fine. Yes, I've been telling Mom and Dad the money was from me. So what, they needed to believe one of their daughters was successful. God knows they've been disappointed enough." "They've never been disappointed in you. You're the golden child who can do no wrong." "That's what you think." Her laugh is incredulous. "Do you know how exhausting it is to be the favorite when you're constantly failing? Do you know what it's like to see the doubt creeping into their eyes every time another job falls through, every time another relationship ends, every time I have to move back home? At least when they thought I was sending money, they looked at me with pride again." "So you stole my relationship with them to make yourself feel better." "I didn't steal anything. You abandoned them when you moved to Austin. You call, once a month? Visit twice a year? I'm the one who's here. Breanna. I'm the one who has dinner with them every Sunday, who helps Mom with her grocery shopping, who listens to Dad complain about his business. You send money and think that makes you a good daughter." Her words sting because there's a grain of truth in them. I did leave. I did create distance. But I had to for my own sanity and survival. I left because every moment in that house was toxic for me, I say, because everything I did was wrong. Everything was my fault, because you made sure of it. Oh, here we go. Poor little Breanna, the eternal victim. You were always jealous of me, always trying to prove you were better. Getting your perfect grades, going to your fancy college, landing your impressive job. You think I didn't see what you were doing? You were trying to make me look bad. I was trying to survive. Well, congratulations, you survived. And now you've ruined everything. Her voice drops to a menacing whisper. Do you know what Mom and Dad are saying this morning? They're in shock. They think you lied at the wedding to hurt me. They think you're having some kind of mental breakdown. What? I explained everything to them. How you've been struggling with jealousy and delusions. How you probably saw my success with the consulting firm and couldn't handle it. How you created this elaborate fantasy where you were the one sending money. Mom is worried you might need professional help. I feel the room spin around me. You told them I was delusional. I told them the truth as I see it. And frankly, your behavior at the wedding was unhinged, shouting lies in front of our entire family, storming out like a teenager. Maybe you do need help, Breanna. I have bank statements. I have proof of every transfer. She laughs again. Oh, sweetie, do you really think they'll look at your proof? They trust me. They believe me. I'm the daughter who stayed. I'm the one who's been taking care of them. Besides, I've already explained that you've probably been doctoring documents. Marcus knows all about that stuff, how easy it is to fake bank records these days. Marcus, your unemployed boyfriend who spends his days playing video games and selling weed. Marcus is a digital security consultant, she says smoothly. He's been helping me manage my business finances. In fact, he's the one who noticed some concerning irregularities in mom and dad's accounts, transactions that don't quite add up, money that seems to be going missing. A chill runs down my spine. What are you talking about? I'm talking about protecting our parents from someone who might be taking advantage of them. Someone with access to their financial information. Someone who knows enough about technology to hide their tracks. You're insane if you think anyone will believe I'm stealing from them while simultaneously sending them $5,000 a month. Are you, though, sending them money? I mean, because I've been looking at their statements and I see deposits, sure, but I also see withdrawals, checks written to cash, credit card charges they don't remember making. It's very concerning. Sienna, what have you done? I haven't done anything, but if you keep pushing this narrative that you're some kind of secret benefactor, I might have to share my concerns with them. And possibly with the authorities. Identity theft is a serious crime, Breanna. Elderly abuse even more so. They're in their 50s and you're the one who's been lying. Prove it. Her voice is ice cold now. Prove any of it, because from where I'm standing, you're an estranged daughter who barely visits, who's been acting erratically, who made a scene at a family wedding, and who might be manipulating her parents' finances. I'm the devoted daughter who lives nearby, who's been supporting them financially and emotionally, and who's now concerned about their well-being. This is blackmail. This is reality. You have two choices, little sister. You can drop this whole thing, apologize to me publicly for your outburst, and we can all move forward. Or you can keep pushing, and I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. Starting with your precious job. I wonder what TechFlow Solutions would think about employing someone under investigation for elder fraud. You wouldn't. Try me. I have nothing to lose, Breanna. You, on the other hand, have built yourself a nice little life in Austin. Would be ashamed to see it all come crashing down. The line goes dead. I stare at my phone, trying to process what just happened. My sister hasn't just stolen credit for my financial support. She's been stealing actual money from our parents and is prepared to frame me for it. I call my bank immediately and request detailed records of every transfer for the past 3 years. Then I call my parents. Dad answers on the third ring. Breanna, his voice is cold, disappointed. I hope you're calling to apologize. Dad, please just listen to me for 5 minutes. I have proof that I've been sending the money. Your sister warned us you might say that. She said you've been under a lot of stress at work. Maybe you should take some time off, get some help. I'm not delusional. I can show you bank statements, transaction records. Anyone can fake documents these days. Sienna's boyfriend Marcus showed us how easy it is. He's very knowledgeable about computer crimes. Computer crimes? Dad, I'm trying to tell you the truth. The truth. His voice rises. The truth is that your sister has been taking care of us while you've been living your life in Austin, barely staying in touch. The truth is that she's been here, Breanna. Where have you been? I've been working to send you money. Stop it. Just stop. Your mother is too upset to even talk to you. You humiliated Sienna in front of everyone. Your Aunt Gloria is still in shock. Your cousin Madison had to explain to her children why Aunt Breanna was yelling and making everyone uncomfortable. Dad, please. I don't want to hear it. When you're ready to apologize to your sister and stop this nonsense, you can call back. Until then, I think it's best if we take a break from talking. He hangs up. I try calling back, but it goes straight to voicemail. A text from Mom comes through a minute later. Please get help, Breanna. We love you, but this behavior is not healthy. I sink onto my couch, feeling the walls closing in. Sienna hasn't just stolen my money or my parents' gratitude. She's stolen my reality, twisted it into something unrecognizable, and convinced everyone that I'm the villain in this story. But I'm not the same scared little girl who took the blame for her mistakes all those years ago. I'm a software engineer. I solve complex problems for a living, and my sister just became the biggest problem I've ever faced. I open my laptop and create a new folder, Evidence. Then I start making calls. First to my bank, then to a lawyer friend from college, then to a forensic accountant. If Sienna wants a fight, she's gonna get one. The $5,000 monthly transfer was scheduled to go out tomorrow. My finger hovers over the cancel button for a long moment. Then I click it. If I'm going to be painted as the villain anyway, I might as well stop financing my own character assassination. 2 weeks after canceling the payments, I'm sitting in my home office on a video call with my forensic accountant, Janet Reeves. She's a sharp woman in her 50s, with steel gray hair and eyes that miss nothing. What she's showing me on the shared screen makes my stomach turn. Your suspicions were correct, Janet says, highlighting rows of transactions on a spreadsheet. Your father's business accounts show clear signs of embezzlement. We're looking at approximately $200,000 over the past 18 months. $200,000, I can barely breathe. How is that possible? Death by 1,000 cuts. Small amounts here and there disguised as legitimate business expenses. Vendor payments to companies that don't exist. Payroll for employees who were terminated months ago. Check authorizations with suspicious signatures. Someone with inside access has been bleeding the company dry. Sienna is listed as the office manager. Yes, and she has full access to the accounting system, check writing authority, and interestingly, she's listed as a co-signer on several business credit cards that your parents don't seem to know about. I rub my temples at feeling a migraine building. Can we prove it's her? That's where it gets complicated. Janet pulls up another document. The perpetrator was clever. They've created a paper trail that implicates multiple people, including you. Me? How is that possible? I haven't been involved with the business since high school. According to these documents, you're listed as a contractor providing IT consulting services. There are invoices with your name, your social security number, even what appears to be your signature. My blood runs cold. I never signed anything. I've never done any work for the company. I believe you. The signatures are very good forgeries, but forgeries nonetheless. A handwriting expert could prove that. However, there's another problem. Several checks made out to cash were deposited into ATMs near your apartment in Austin. What when? Various dates over the past year, always on weekends when you'd presumably be home. I think back to all the weekends Sienna claimed to be visiting friends in Austin, how she'd sometimes text, asking to meet for coffee, but then cancel at the last minute. She was here. She was in Austin depositing those checks. That would be my assumption, but proving it is another matter. The ATM footage is only kept for 90 days, and these transactions go back much further. This is insane. She's been planning this for over a year. Longer, possibly, there's more. Janet's expression grows even more serious. Your father's business is in severe financial distress. They're behind on loan payments, vendor contracts, even payroll taxes. Without immediate intervention, they'll be forced into bankruptcy within 60 days. 60 days. I feel like I've been punched. Dad's construction company was his pride and joy, built from nothing over 25 years of hard work. What about the 5,000 I was sending them monthly? Based on the cash flow analysis, your payments were essentially keeping them afloat. They were using that money to cover the shortfalls created by the embezzlement. Now that the payments have stopped, oh my God, Sienna knew. She knew exactly what would happen if I stopped sending money. It appears so. This level of financial manipulation requires intimate knowledge of the business operations and careful timing. She was counting on your continued payments to hide the theft indefinitely. I stand up and pace my small office. I need to go to Houston. I need to see the books myself, talk to the employees, figure out how deep this goes. Be careful, Janet warns. In cases like this, when the perpetrator feels cornered, they often escalate. Document everything. Don't go alone. And whatever you do, don't access any systems without proper authorization. We don't want to give them any ammunition to use against you. After ending the call, I book a flight to Houston for the next morning. Then I call my friend Rosa Gonzalez. Not my friend exactly, but someone who might help. Rosa has been the bookkeeper at Dad's company for 15 years. She's one of the few people who's always been kind to me, remembering my birthday with a card each year, asking about my life when I'd visit the office as a teenager. Breanna. She sounds surprised when she answers. Is everything okay? Rosa, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest. Is Sienna really working as the office manager? There's a long pause. Why are you asking? Please, I know something's wrong with the business. I just need to understand what's happening. Rosa sighs heavily. Can you meet me tomorrow? Not at the office. There's a coffee shop on Westheimer near the Galleria, Café Azul. Can you be there at 7 in the morning before work? Nisos. I'll be there. Breanna, be careful. Things here are not what they seem. The next morning, I'm sitting in Café Azul at 6:45, nursing a black coffee and trying to calm my nerves. Rosa arrives right on time, looking around nervously before sliding into the booth across from me. I've wanted to talk to someone about this for months, she says without preamble, but who would believe me? Your sister is very convincing and your parents trust her completely. Tell me everything. Rosa pulls out a small notebook filled with her neat handwriting. Sienna started as office manager 18 months ago. At first, she seemed enthusiastic, coming in early, staying late. But after about a month, she started showing up less and less. Now, she maybe comes in once a week, usually just to sign checks or grab the credit cards. And my parents don't notice. Your father is on job sites most of the time. Your mother has her own job and health issues. They trust Sienna to handle the office. She tells them everything is fine, shows them reports that look good on the surface. But Breanna, those reports are fiction. I've tried to warn them, but what? Your sister told them I was jealous of her position, that I wanted to be office manager myself. She said I was trying to sabotage her because she's young and bringing fresh ideas to the company. Your parents gave me a warning. Told me to stay in my lane and just do the bookkeeping. But you've seen the real numbers. Rosa nods. I have copies of everything, hidden of course. I've been documenting it all, hoping someone would eventually listen. She slides a flash drive across the table. Invoices to fake vendors. Payroll for terminated employees still being processed. Credit card statements for cards your parents don't know exist. It's all there. Why didn't you go to the police? With what proof? Everything has authorization signatures. Your sister was clever. She made it look like multiple people were involved, including your father. Without someone to corroborate the forgeries, it would look like I was just a disgruntled employee trying to cause trouble. What about the other employees? Has anyone else noticed? Most of the office staff has quit. She made their lives miserable, accused them of stealing, of incompetence. She hired new people, friends of hers or Marcus's, who do whatever she says. The job site crews don't interact with the office much, so they have no idea what's happening. Marcus is involved. Rosa's expression darkens. He's there all the time. Officially, he's a consultant. But I've seen him in the systems accessing files, printing checks. He knows computers, that one. Too well. I think about Janet's warning about escalation. Rosa, do you think they know I'm looking into this? Possibly. Your sister called yesterday, asking strange questions about who's been accessing the files, whether anyone's been asking about the finances. She seemed agitated. I need to see Dad explain what's happening. Rosa shakes her head sadly. He won't listen. I heard him telling a subcontractor last week that you're going through some mental health crisis. Sienna has them completely convinced that you're unstable. If you show up talking about embezzlement and forgery, they'll think it proves her point. Then what do I do? You need proof they can't ignore, and you need to be careful. Your sister, there's something not right about her, Breanna. The way she looks at people, sometimes calculating cold, and that boyfriend of hers gives me chills. We talk for another hour, Rosa sharing more details about suspicious activities, strange visitors to the office, threats Sienna has made to employees who ask too many questions. By the time we part, I have a clear picture of the systematic destruction of my father's life's work. I spend the rest of the day in Houston meeting with former employees who corroborate Rosa's story. Maria, the former office assistant, tells me how Sienna accused her of stealing petty cash and fired her when she tried to report discrepancies. James, a project manager who quit 6 months ago, describes how Sienna would override his purchase orders, directing materials to job sites that didn't exist. By evening, I'm sitting in my hotel room with a mountain of evidence and a growing sense of dread. My sister isn't just a liar and a thief. She's orchestrated the complete destruction of our parents' financial security, and she's prepared to destroy me to cover it up. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Stop digging or you'll regret it. A second later, another message, this time with a photo attached. It's a picture of me at the coffee shop with Rosa this morning, taken from across the street. A third message. We know everything you're doing. Back off now or what happens next is on you. I screenshot the messages and forward them to Janet and my lawyer. Then I call the Houston Police Department to file a report. The officer who takes my information sounds bored until I mention the dollar amount of the suspected embezzlement. We'll need to see documentation, he says. Can you come to the station tomorrow? Yes, but I'm concerned about these threatening messages. Has anyone physically harmed you or explicitly threatened violence? No, but then it's not an immediate threat. Document everything, vary your routine, stay in public places. We'll add it to the report tomorrow. I hang up feeling more alone than ever. Outside my hotel window, Houston sprawls in all directions, a city of millions where I grew up but never belonged. Somewhere out there, my sister is planning her next move, and I have no idea what she's capable of. My phone rings. It's Mom. Breanna, where are you? Sienna says you've been harassing employees, making wild accusations. She showed us messages you supposedly sent threatening to destroy the business if we don't give you money. Mom, I never sent any messages. I'm trying to help. Help by spreading lies about your sister, by trying to turn our employees against us. Rosa Gonzalez just quit no notice after 15 years. She said you put her up to it. That's not true. Isn't it you canceled your supposed monthly payments and suddenly you're here causing chaos? What are we supposed to think? Mom, please just look at the books. Look at the real finances, not what Sienna shows you. I don't need to look at anything. I trust your sister. She's the one who's here, who's helping us through this difficult time. You're the one trying to tear our family apart. She hangs up. I realize with a sinking heart that Sienna has anticipated every move, countered every piece of evidence, turned every ally against me. But I also realize something else. She's scared. The threatening messages, forcing Rosa to quit the frantic damage control, it all points to someone who knows the walls are closing in. I pull out the flash drive Rosa gave me and start uploading everything to secure cloud storage. Then I compose a detailed email to Janet and my lawyer with all the evidence, all the conversations, all the threats. If something happens to me, at least the truth will survive. Because one thing is becoming clear, my sister isn't just trying to steal money or destroy reputations anymore. She's fighting for survival, and desperate people do desperate things. The next morning, I'm at the Houston Police Department at 8 sharp, sitting across from Detective Patricia Chen in a small interview room. She reviews my documentation with the practiced efficiency of someone who's seen every type of financial crime imaginable. "This is substantial," she says, finally looking up from the papers. "But I need to be honest with you. Family financial disputes are complicated, especially when the accused has power of attorney or signing authority." "Subs, forged signatures aren't complicated," I counter. "That's fraud, plain and simple." Proving forgery requires handwriting experts' witness testimony and clear evidence of intent to defraud. Your sister will claim she had verbal authorization for everything. It becomes he said she said, or in this case, she said she said. What about the threatening texts? Detective Chen examines the screenshots. They're concerning but not explicitly violent. "You'll regret it" could mean anything from a lawsuit to family ostracism. Without more direct threats or actual harm, it's hard to pursue criminally. I'm about to argue when the door opens. Another detective enters, his expression grim. "Ms. Matthews, I'm Detective Rodriguez. I'm afraid there's been a development. We've received a complaint against you that we need to discuss." "A complaint? What kind of complaint?" He sets a folder on the table. "Your sister, Sienna Matthews, filed a report this morning alleging identity theft, fraud, and elder abuse. She's provided what appears to be substantial documentation." The room tilts. I grip the edge of the table. "That's impossible. I'm here reporting her for those exact crimes." I understand this is confusing. However, we need to take all allegations seriously. According to Ms. Matthews, you've been accessing your parents' financial accounts without authorization, redirecting business funds, and manipulating your elderly parents through psychological abuse. My parents are 56 and 58. They're not elderly. The term vulnerable adults might be more accurate. Your mother's arthritis and your father's recent stress-related health issues could qualify them as such under Texas laws. Detective Chen looks uncomfortable. "Patricia, maybe we should—" "I need to see the supposed evidence," I interrupt. Detective Rodriguez opens the folder. Inside are bank statements, but they're not mine. They show transfers from my parents' accounts to an account with my name on it, an account I've never seen before. There are forged emails supposedly from me discussing how to hide the money from mom and dad. There are even fake text messages where I'm apparently bragging about finally getting what I deserve from those idiots. "This is all fabricated," I say, my voice shaking. "I've never seen this account. These emails aren't from my address. The texts are photoshopped or created with a spoofing app." "That may be true," Rodriguez says, "but we have to investigate. Your sister also provided this." He pulls out a photograph. It's a still from security footage showing someone who looks like me at an ATM. The timestamp matches one of the suspicious deposits Janet found. "That's not me," I say, studying the image. The woman is wearing clothes similar to ones I own, her hair styled like mine, but her face is turned away from the camera. "Look at the height marker by the ATM. That woman is at least 2 inches taller than me." "We'll verify that. In the meantime, I need to advise you of your rights. You're not under arrest, but you are a person of interest in an active investigation. You should contact an attorney before answering any more questions." "I already have an attorney, but I came here to report crimes, not be accused of them." "I understand your frustration. My advice, go home to Austin. Let your lawyer handle this. Don't contact your parents or sister. Don't go near the business. Any actions you take now could be construed as witness intimidation or tampering with evidence." I leave the police station in a daze. My phone has dozens of missed calls from unknown numbers. When I finally answer one, it's a reporter from the Houston Chronicle. "Ms. Matthews, I'm calling about the allegations of elder abuse and fraud. Would you like to comment on your sister's claims that you've stolen over $300,000 from your parents? What, no, that's completely false? So, you deny the charges. What about the evidence of bank transfers and forged documents? I'm not commenting. Speak to my attorney. I hang up and immediately call my lawyer, David Kim. Breanna, I've been trying to reach you. Whatever you do, don't talk to media. This has gone public and it's ugly. How did the media find out so fast? Your sister held a press conference an hour ago. She positioned herself as a whistleblower protecting your vulnerable parents from financial exploitation. She was very convincing, crying about how heartbroken she is to turn in her own sister, but that she had to protect your parents. This is insane. It's calculated. She's controlling the narrative. We need to respond carefully. Can you come to my office immediately? During the drive to David's office, my phone explodes with notifications. My LinkedIn is flooded with messages. My Facebook shows dozens of friend requests from strangers. When I check the Houston Chronicle website, my worst fears are confirmed. The headline reads, "Local woman accused of stealing $300,000 from parents' struggling business." The article includes a photo of me from my company website alongside a tearful photo of Sienna comforting our parents. The comments are brutal. Disgusting. How could someone steal from their own parents? This is why I don't trust tech people. They think they're so smart they can get away with anything. Poor family, at least they have one good daughter. By the time I reach David's office, I'm shaking. He takes one look at me and hands me up a glass of water. First things first, he says. We need to get you back to Austin. Being in Houston makes you vulnerable to arrest if they decide to press charges. Press charges for crimes I didn't commit. I know, but right now perception is reality, and the perception is very bad. Your sister has done an excellent job of poisoning the well. She's given them enough probable cause to potentially arrest you while they investigate. What about my evidence? The embezzlement, the forgeries? We'll submit it through proper channels, but Breanna, you need to prepare yourself. This isn't going to be resolved quickly. Your sister has made this a public spectacle. Even if we prove your innocence, the damage to your reputation. What about my job? The reality hits me like a freight train. Oh God, if TechFlow sees this. David's expression tells me everything. You should probably reach out to your employer proactively. Better they hear your side first. I call my manager Tom from David's office. He answers on the first ring. Breanna, I just got off the phone with HR. We've seen the news articles. This is concerning. Tom, none of it is true. My sister is framing me to cover up her own crimes. I have evidence. I'm sure you do, but the company has to protect itself. We're placing you on administrative leave effective immediately, pending the outcome of the investigation, of course. Tom, please. You know me. You know I would never... I thought I knew you, but the evidence in those articles... Breanna, there are bank records, emails. Even if it's all fake, the company can't have this kind of publicity. We work with financial systems. Client trust is everything. So you're firing me? Administrative leave, with pay for now, but Breanna, you should probably start looking for other options. Even if you're cleared this kind of scandal, it follows people. After I hang up David and I sit in silence for a moment, in less than 24 hours, I've gone from trying to save my parents' business to being unemployed and under criminal investigation. What's our next move? I ask finally. We file our own charges. Get your evidence to the police, the FBI if necessary. Financial crimes crossing state lines could bring federal involvement. But Breanna, you need to understand something. Your sister and whoever is helping her, they're good at this. Very good. This isn't their first rodeo. What do you mean? The sophistication of the frame job, the media, manipulation, the timing of everything. This feels professional. Has your sister ever been involved in anything like this before? Not that I know of. She's always been manipulative, but this level of planning... What about the boyfriend Marcus? A chill runs down my spine as I remember Rose's words about Marcus knowing computers too well. I don't know much about him, just that he doesn't seem to have a real job, and Sienna said he's a digital security consultant. David makes a note. We need to look into him. In the meantime, go home. Stay off social media. Don't talk to anyone about this except me and Breanna. Be careful. People who orchestrate frauds this complex don't like loose ends. The drive back to Austin is the longest 3 hours of my life. Every car behind me could be following me. Every notification on my phone could be another piece of my life falling apart. By the time I reach my apartment, exhaustion weighs on me like a physical force. But there's no rest. My landlord has left 3 voicemails about concerns regarding my tenancy. My bank texts about unusual activity on my accounts. Even the coffee shop where I'm a regular has my photo printed out behind the counter like I'm some kind of wanted criminal. I collapse on my couch, finally allowing myself to cry. Not just for what I've lost, but for the family I never really had. For parents who believe lies over truth. For a sister whose hatred runs so deep she'd destroy my entire life rather than admit her own failures. My phone buzzes with one final text of the day. It's from Sienna. I warned you to back off. This is just the beginning. Give up now and maybe I'll let you keep some dignity. Keep fighting and I'll destroy everything you've ever cared about. I screenshot the message and send it to David. Then I pour myself a glass of wine and start planning my counterattack. Because if Sienna thinks I'll roll over and play dead like I did when we were kids, she's about to learn how much I've changed. The scared little girl who took the blame for everything is gone. In her place is a woman with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. And unlike my sister, I have something she doesn't, the truth. Now I just have to survive long enough to prove it. 3 weeks into my administrative leave, I'm running on coffee and determination. My savings account dwindles as legal fees mount, but giving up isn't an option. David has assembled a small team, Janet the forensic accountant, a private investigator named Malcolm Torres, and a cybersecurity expert named Ashley Chen, who specializes in digital fraud. We're gathered in David's conference room, surrounded by boxes of evidence, when Malcolm drops his first bombshell. Yeeg, Marcus Webb isn't who he claims to be, he says, sliding a folder across the table. His real name is Marcus Whitman. He served 3 years in federal prison for identity theft, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit financial crimes. I stare at the mugshot. It's definitely him, though younger and without the carefully groomed beard he sports now. How did we not know this? He's been using variations of his name moving between states, staying off official radars. He's good at what he does. Too good. This isn't his first time running this exact scam. What do you mean? Malcolm pulls out another file. 4 years ago in Oklahoma City, the Patterson family, daughter named Jennifer, started dating a charming guy who turned out to be Marcus. Within 18 months, the family business was bankrupted. The elderly parents lost their home, and the other daughter, Sarah, was arrested for embezzlement. Sound familiar? What happened to Sarah? Charges were eventually dropped, but not before she lost her job. Her marriage fell apart, and she attempted suicide. The family never recovered. Jennifer and Marcus disappeared with about $400,000. And no one caught them. By the time authorities connected the dots, they were gone. New names, new state, new victims, which brings us to your family. Ashley speaks up. The digital footprint confirms it. The banking apps used for the fraudulent transfers match the pattern from the Oklahoma case. Same spoofing techniques, same money movement patterns, even similar amounts at similar intervals. We need to get this to the police immediately, I say. David shakes his head. Not yet. We need more concrete proof linking Marcus to your case. Right now, it's circumstantial. A good prosecutor could argue it's just coincidence. Coincidence. He's literally using the same playbook. I know it's frustrating, but we need to be strategic. Your sister has public opinion on her side. We need evidence so overwhelming that no one can deny it. Janet pulls up financial charts on her laptop. Speaking of evidence, I've found something interesting. The embezzled funds aren't sitting in random accounts. They're being systematically moved through a network of LLCs and shell companies. It's sophisticated stuff. Where does it end up? Still tracking that, but I can tell you this, whoever set this up has done it before. This isn't amateur hour. My phone buzzes. It's Tom from TechFlow. My heart races as I answer. Breanna, I'm calling with an update. I'm sorry, but the board has decided to terminate your employment effective immediately. Your final paycheck will include unused vacation time. Tom, the investigation isn't even complete. You know I'm innocent. What I know doesn't matter. 3 major clients threatened to pull their contracts if we didn't take action. I fought for you, but... His voice drops. Between you and me, someone's been calling our clients, sending them articles about you. This feels orchestrated. After hanging up, I share the news with the team. Malcolm isn't surprised. They're isolating you. Classic tactic. Strip away your support system, your income, your reputation. Make you so desperate you'll make mistakes or give up entirely. I won't give up. I know, which is why we need to be smarter. I want to put surveillance on Marcus and your sister. Legal surveillance, he adds quickly. See where they go, who they meet. People like this always have other irons in the fire. Over the next week, Malcolm's surveillance pays off in unexpected ways. Marcus meets with several people at upscale hotels, always carrying a briefcase, always leaving with envelopes. Sienna visits 3 different banks in one day, conducting transactions at each. Most interesting, they meet with a well-dressed older woman at a restaurant downtown Houston. Her name is Patricia Morse, Malcolm reports. She's a real estate attorney who specializes in distressed properties. Guess what your parents' house and the business property would be considered if they declare bankruptcy? Distressed properties. I say the pieces clicking together. They're not just stealing money. They're positioning to buy everything at a fraction of its value. Exactly. I tracked down Sarah Patterson, the Oklahoma victim. Same thing happened to her family. After the dust settled, their family farm was bought by an LLC that traced back to Marcus. We need Sarah to testify. Already on it. She's willing, but she's terrified. Marcus threatened her family if she ever spoke up. We'll need to guarantee her protection. Ashley interrupts with her laptop. Guys, we have a problem. Someone's been accessing Breanna's cloud storage. They're downloading everything, all our evidence. How is that possible? I have 2-factor authentication. They cloned your phone, probably when you were in Houston. Every text, every email, every login, they see it all. My blood runs cold. They know everything we're planning. Not everything, David says. We've been careful to keep some things offline, but yes, they know we're on to them, which means they'll accelerate their timeline. He's right. The next day, my parents file a civil lawsuit against me for theft and emotional distress. The amount they're seeking is exactly what I'd sent them over 3 years plus damages. The media eats it up. My photo is everywhere, always the same unflattering screenshot from a work presentation making me look cold and calculating. But we get a break from an unexpected source. Rosa calls from a burner phone Malcolm gave her. Breanna, I'm at my nephew's house in San Antonio. I had to leave. They were following me, threatening me, but I kept something I didn't tell you about. Video recordings. Video of what? I installed a hidden camera in the office after I realized what was happening. I have footage of Marcus accessing the computers after hours of Sienna forging signatures of them discussing their plans. I was too scared to mention it before, but if you're really going after them... Rosa, you're incredible. Can you get the footage to my lawyer? I'll overnight it. But Breanna, be careful. Yesterday a man came to my sister's house looking for me. She said he had cold eyes and knew things about our family he shouldn't know. These people are dangerous. That night, I can't sleep. Every noise makes me jump. When a car alarm goes off at 2 in the morning, I find myself checking the locks for the third time. This isn't just about money anymore, it's about survival. The next morning brings another blow. My apartment complex serves me with an eviction notice. The reason complaints from neighbors about criminal activity and concerns about safety. The complaints are anonymous, of course, but I know who's behind them. They're trying to make you homeless, Malcolm says when I call him. Same thing happened in Oklahoma, but here's the good news. We just got the footage from Rosa. It's a game changer. I meet the team at David's office to review the recordings. The quality isn't great, but it's clear enough. There's Marcus at a computer using a device to capture passwords. There's Sienna practicing my father's signature over and over. Most damning, there's a conversation where they explicitly discuss framing me. The little princess thinks she's so smart with her computer job, Sienna says on the recording. When this is over, she'll be lucky to get work at a fast food place. Marcus laughs. Just like Oklahoma, these family businesses are gold mines. Parents trust the favorite kid trusts me, and boom. We get paid and the goody two-shoes takes the fall. This is it, David says. This is what we needed. With Sarah's testimony and this footage, we can turn everything around. But as we're celebrating this breakthrough, Ashley's face goes pale. Guys, we have a major problem. Someone just posted Breanna's personal information online. Address, phone number, social security number, everything. It's on multiple forums. Duxing? I ask, though I know the answer. Worse. They're claiming you're a danger to society, encouraging people to protect themselves from you. This is incitement. Within hours, my phone is unusable from the barrage of calls and texts. Strangers send death threats, accusations, and worse. Someone orders 50 pizzas to my apartment. Another person signs me up for hundreds of email lists. By evening, I'm effectively under siege. You can't stay there, David insists. This has escalated beyond financial crime. We need to get you somewhere safe. But I'm done running. No, we take this to the FBI tomorrow. We show them everything. Marcus crossing state lines makes this federal. The cybercrimes, the identity theft, all of it. If local police won't help, we go over their heads. Breanna. I've lost my job, my reputation, my family, and now maybe my home. I have nothing left to lose. We end this now. Malcolm nods approvingly. That's the spirit. But tonight you stay with friends. No arguments. Tomorrow we go nuclear. As I pack an overnight bag, I think about Sienna. Wherever she is, probably celebrating what she thinks is my complete destruction. She has no idea that rock bottom isn't where you break. It's where you find out what you're really made of. And what I'm made of is pure, unrelenting determination to see justice served. The FBI field office in Houston is a fortress of glass and steel that makes you feel small the moment you walk in. Special Agent Diana Weston doesn't smile when she greets us, but there's something in her eyes that gives me hope. She's seen this before. Ms. Matthews, I've reviewed the materials your attorney sent over. I have to say, this is one of the more elaborate fraud schemes I've encountered. Your sister and Mr. Whitman have been quite thorough. Then you'll help us. We've actually been tracking Marcus Whitman for 2 years. Your case might be the break we've been waiting for, but I need you to understand something. Once we open a federal investigation, there's no going back. Your family will be scrutinized. Your life will be under a microscope, and your sister, she's looking at serious federal charges. She made her choice when she decided to destroy our parents and frame me for it. Agent Weston nods. All right then, let's begin. Over the next 6 hours, I detail everything. The childhood pattern of lies, the stolen money, the elaborate frame job, the threats. Ashley presents the digital evidence. Malcolm shows the surveillance footage. Janet breaks down the financial crimes in excruciating detail. Rosa's videos play on the conference room screen. Sienna's voice cold and calculating as she plans my destruction. The Oklahoma case. Agent Weston says finally, we could never prove Marcus's involvement conclusively, but with this evidence, we can connect the patterns. This is good, very good, but we need more. We need them to incriminate themselves in real time. Well, what do you mean? I mean, we need a sting operation. Would you be willing to wear a wire? My stomach drops. You want me to confront them? Not confront. Negotiate. Let them think they've won, that you're ready to take a deal. Desperate people get careless. Careless people say things they shouldn't. I look at David, who nods slightly. I'll do it. Good. But first, we need to ensure your safety. These people have shown they're willing to escalate. I'm assigning you a protection detail. The next 3 days are a whirlwind of preparation. The FBI tech team shows me how to operate the recording equipment, coaches me on what to say, how to draw out confessions without seeming suspicious. They create a believable narrative. I'm broke, terrified, and willing to do anything to make this go away. Meanwhile, Agent Weston's team digs deeper into Marcus's history. What they find chills me to the bone. He's connected to at least 7 similar cases across 5 states, she tells me. Always the same pattern. Always targeting family businesses with multiple children. Always leaving one to take the fall while he and his partner disappear with the money. How many partners has he had? That's the interesting part. Your sister is his 4th. The others all ended up in prison or worse. One committed suicide. Another disappeared completely. Marcus doesn't leave loose ends. The implication hangs heavy. Sienna thinks she's the mastermind, but she's just another mark in Marcus's long con. We need to warn her, I say, surprising myself. Agent Weston looks at me carefully. Your sister is a willing participant in multiple felonies. She's destroyed your life. She's also being manipulated by a serial predator. Whatever else she is, she's still my sister. We'll see what we can do. For now, focus on the sting. The meeting is set for neutral ground, a hotel conference room in downtown Houston. Sienna insisted on the location, probably thinking it gives her control. She doesn't know the FBI has agents in adjoining rooms, that every exit is covered, that this will be her last day of freedom. I arrive 15 minutes early, letting the wire technician do a final check. My hands are shaking, but my voice is steady. Testing, testing. We hear you loud and clear. Agent Weston's voice comes through my earpiece. Remember, get them talking about the money, the forgeries, the frame-up. Don't push too hard. Let them think they're in control. Sienna arrives, first dressed in a designer suit I'm sure my parents' money paid for. She looks different. Harder, colder, like success has frozen something inside her. Marcus follows, all fake charm and calculated smiles. Breanna. Sienna says not bothering with pleasantries. I'm surprised you wanted to meet. Last I heard, you were still playing victim to anyone who'd listen. No one's listening anymore, I say, letting exhaustion creep into my voice. It's not entirely an act. You've made sure of that. Marcus pulls out a chair, his movements too smooth, too practiced. So what do you want? Why are we here? I want this to end. I've lost everything. My job, my apartment, my savings are gone to legal fees. You've won. I need to know there's a way out. Sienna and Marcus exchange glances. I see something pass between them, a silent communication born of shared schemes. What kind of way out? Sienna asks carefully. I'll sign whatever you want. Admit to whatever you need me to admit. I just need enough money to start over somewhere else, maybe another state, another name. You'll never hear from me again. Admit to what exactly? Marcus leans forward and I catch a glimpse of the predator under the charm. To taking money from the business, to framing you for it when I got caught. Whatever story you need to sell to make this go away. Sienna laughs sharp and bitter. You think it's that simple. You think you can just walk away after everything you've put us through. Everything I've put you through? I let real anger seep in. You stole my life, Sienna. You took credit for my money, destroyed my reputation, turned our parents against me. Your money, She slams her hand on the table. That money was family money. You were just the courier. I'm the one who managed it, who made sure it went where it was needed. Managed it? You mean stole it? Careful, Marcus warns, his voice dropping. Accusations like that could be considered slander, especially from someone already facing criminal charges. What charges? The ones you fabricated, the evidence you planted. Evidence we planted. Sienna's eyes glitter dangerously. Breanna, you're the one who's been siphoning money from Dad's business for years. We have the proof. Proof you created. Signatures you forged. Just like you've been forging Dad's signature on checks, creating fake vendors paying terminated employees. You can't prove any of that, Marcus says, but there's a slight tension in his voice now. Can't I? Rosa had some interesting things to say before you scared her into hiding. Sienna goes pale. Rosa is a bitter old woman who wanted my job. No one will believe her. Well, what about the security footage she kept? You practicing Dad's signature, Marcus, hacking into the computers. The silence that follows is deafening. I can almost hear Agent Weston holding her breath through my earpiece. Marcus recovers first. You're bluffing. Rosa didn't have access to security systems. Hidden camera. Amazing what you can buy online these days. She has hours of footage, including some very interesting conversations about your plans. Even if that were true, Sienna says slowly, it would be inadmissible, recorded without consent. Texas is a one-party consent state for recordings in places where there's no expectation of privacy. A business office during business hours, completely legal. I watch Marcus's hand inch toward his pocket. Don't even think about it, I say. You really think I came here alone? You think I'm that stupid? You came here alone in Oklahoma. I continue, watching his face change. Sarah Patterson sends her regards, by the way. She's very interested in testifying about what you did to her family. I don't know what you're talking about, Marcus says, but sweat beads on his forehead. Jennifer Patterson might ring a bell. The woman you convinced to help you destroy her own family, just like you're doing with Sienna now. Shut up, Sienna hisses. Did he tell you about Jennifer Sienna, about how she's serving 5 years in federal prison while he walked away with the money? Or about Lisa in Arkansas, Maria in New Mexico? You're not special. You're just the latest mark. I said shut up. Sienna lunges across the table, but Marcus grabs her arm. She's trying to turn us against each other, he says, but his grip is too tight, his smile too forced. Tell me, Sienna, where's all that money you two stole? Is it in your account, or is it in one of Marcus's shell companies? When he disappears, and he will disappear, will you be able to access any of it? You don't know anything, Sienna says, but uncertainty creeps into her voice. I know he's done this 4 times before. I know his real name isn't Marcus Webb. I know he's wanted in 3 states. And I know that when this goes south, and it's already going south, he'll throw you under the bus so fast your head will spin. We're done here. Marcus stands abruptly. Oh, sit down, Sienna snaps at him. We're not done until I say we're done. The cracks are showing. Good. Fine, I say. Let's talk terms. What will it take to make this go away? 200,000, Marcus says quickly. Cash and a full confession. I don't have 200,000. You've made sure of that. Then get it. Take out loans, sell everything. I don't care how. Or, Sienna adds her voice like ice. We release everything. Every email, every text, every piece of dirt we've manufactured. By the time we're done, you won't be able to get a job cleaning toilets. You mean like this? I pull out my phone showing them the doxing posts. Already done that, haven't you? Marcus shrugs. That's just the beginning. We have photos, videos. Amazing what AI can create these days. Deep fakes that would make your skin crawl. You'd really destroy me with lies. Destroyed. Sienna laughs. Breanna, you're already destroyed. This is about burying you so deep you never crawl back out. Get the money, she says through the earpiece. Perfect. Marcus checks his phone, frowning. We need to go. Not yet, Sienna says. I want to hear her beg. I want to hear perfect little Breanna admit she's nothing without her family's support. Sienna. Marcus's voice carries a warning. Oh, what afraid of a little gloating. After everything she put me through, I deserve this moment. Everything I put you through, Sienna, I spent my entire childhood being blamed for your mistakes. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college while you partied. I sent you money, my money, for 3 years while you took credit. Oh, money you owed us. Money you stole by being born, by taking attention that should have been mine. The mask finally slips completely. You were the miracle baby, she continues, voice rising. The easy one, the smart one, the good one. Do you know what it's like living in the shadow of a sister who never does anything wrong? I did everything wrong. According to you and our parents, I couldn't do anything right. Because I made sure of it. She's screaming now. Every lie, every blame, every twisted story. I crafted it all, and they believed me every single time because I'm the one they wanted. You were just the spare. Sienna, that's enough, Marcus says sharply. No, she needs to hear this. Every dollar I took, every document I forged, every crime I'm framing her for, it's justice. Payment for 18 years of being second best to Little Miss Perfect. So you admit it, I say quietly. You forged documents, you stole money, you framed me. The confession hangs in the air for a heartbeat before realization dawns on both their faces. You're wearing a wire, Marcus says, reaching into his jacket. Don't move! The door bursts open. FBI agents flood the room, weapons drawn. Marcus Whitman, Sienna Matthews, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit financial crimes. Marcus tries to run, but an agent tackles him before he reaches the door. Sienna just stares at me, her face a mixture of rage and disbelief. You set me up, she whispers. No, Sienna. You set yourself up the moment you decided to destroy our family for money and petty revenge. As they're led away in handcuffs, Sienna turns back one last time. I'll never forgive you for this. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I'm asking for justice. Agent Weston approaches as the room clears. That was textbook perfect. We got everything we needed and more. What happens now? Now we build an airtight case. With the confession, the evidence, and testimony from the other victims, they're looking at 15 to 20 years federal time. Your parents' money will be recovered. Your name will be cleared. And my family. She puts a hand on my shoulder. That's a different kind of recovery, but at least now you'll have the chance to try. I sit in the empty conference room for a long time after everyone leaves processing what just happened. My sister is going to prison. My parents will have to face the truth. My life has been shattered and will need to be rebuilt piece by piece. But for the first time in months, I can breathe. The truth is out. Justice will be served. And maybe I can finally stop looking over my shoulder and start looking forward. 2 days after the arrests, I'm staying in a hotel under an assumed name courtesy of the FBI's witness protection protocols. The media storm is overwhelming. Reporters camp outside my destroyed apartment, my parents' house, even the ruins of Dad's business. My phone is turned off, my social media deleted. I exist in a strange bubble of isolation and relief. That's when the letter arrives. The FBI agent on duty hands it to me after running it through security protocols. It's clean, he says. Came through your lawyer's office. The handwriting on the envelope is elegant, old-fashioned cursive that I recognize immediately. Charlotte Matthews. My grandmother, my mother's mother, who was cast out of the family when I was 12 for the crime of playing favorites and trying to turn the children against their parents. I open it with trembling hands. I have watched from afar as your life unfolded, as your sister's poison spread through our family like a cancer. You may wonder why I never reached out, never intervened. The answer is both simple and complicated. Your parents made it clear that any contact would result in legal action, and I believed, perhaps foolishly, that the truth would eventually surface on its own. I was wrong to wait. But I am not too late to act. I have been following the news of your ordeal. What they've done to you, what Sarah has allowed to happen, breaks my heart in ways I cannot express. But I am not surprised. The signs were there long before I was exiled from your lives. You need to know the truth about why I was really banished. It wasn't about favoritism, though that's the story they told. It was about what I saw and what I tried to prevent. Come to my home in River Oaks. Come alone. The FBI can verify I pose no threat. There are things you need to know, evidence you need to see, and choices you need to make. Time is more critical than you realize. Your sister's arrest is not the end, but the beginning of something larger. Marcus Whitman is just one tentacle of an organization that preys on families like ours. I have spent 12 years preparing for this moment. Please don't make me wait any longer. With all my love, Charlotte Elise Matthews. P.S. I know you remember the lavender roses in my garden. They still bloom every spring, waiting for you to see them again. The postscript brings tears to my eyes. I was the only grandchild who helped her tend those roses, who understood why she grew that particular variety. They remind me that beautiful things can grow even in difficult soil, she used to say. I need to go to Houston. I tell Agent Weston when she checks in that evening. She frowns, reading the letter. This could be a trap. Your grandmother has been estranged for over a decade. The timing is suspicious. My grandmother was exiled for calling out Sienna's behavior. She tried to warn my parents and they cut her off. If anyone understands what I'm going through, it's her. I can't authorize you to go alone. Then send agents, set up surveillance. But I'm going. This is my grandmother, not some criminal conspirator. After hours of negotiation, we reach a compromise. I'll go, but with a full security detail. The house will be swept for threats. I'll wear a panic button. It feels like overkill, but I agree. River Oaks hasn't changed much in 12 years. The mansions still sit behind manicured hedges, old money whispering from every carefully maintained facade. Charlotte's house is at the end of a tree-lined street, a Victorian beauty that looks exactly as I remember, except for the security cameras discreetly positioned at every angle. She opens the door before I can knock. The years have been kind to her. At 74, she stands straight and elegant, her silver hair swept into the same French twist she always wore. But her eyes, those sharp blue eyes that missed nothing, now carry a weight that wasn't there before. Breanna. She pulls me into a fierce hug that smells of Chanel No. 5 and memories. My brave, brilliant girl, let me look at you. She holds me at arm's length, studying my face. You have wounds that don't show on the surface. Come inside. We have much to discuss. The house is a time capsule. Persian rugs, oil paintings, furniture that tells stories of generations. She leads me to the study, a room I remember being off limits as a child. Now I understand why. The walls are covered in documents. Photographs, newspaper clippings, printed emails, financial records. It looks like the evidence room of a detective who's been working one case for a decade. In a way, that's exactly what it is. Tea first, she says, pouring from a silver service. Then truth. We sit in leather wing-back chairs, the afternoon light filtering through silk curtains. The tea is Earl Grey served in china cups that probably cost more than my monthly rent. The normalcy of it feels surreal after weeks of chaos. How long have you been tracking this? I ask, gesturing at the walls. Since the day they banished me. I knew Sienna was dangerous, but I underestimated how dangerous. I thought it was simple narcissism, perhaps a personality disorder. I didn't realize she was being groomed. Groomed by Marcus? Charlotte shakes her head. Marcus is recent. The grooming started much earlier. Tell me, what do you remember about Harold Fitzgerald? The name sends a chill through me. Mom's business partner when I was young. He used to bring Sienna presents, expensive ones. Harold was a con artist. Your mother never knew. He was very good at his facade. But I recognized the signs. The way he isolated Sienna filled her head with ideas about being special, being deserving of more than others. The way he taught her to lie with conviction, to manipulate with tears, to see family as marks rather than loved ones. You're saying he trained her. I'm saying he planted seeds that grew into the poisonous tree she became. When I tried to warn your parents, Harold had already turned them against me. Sienna backed his story that I was senile paranoid trying to control the family through fear. Charlotte stands pulling a leather journal from a shelf. I hired private investigators. I documented everything. Harold was part of a network. Criminals who specifically target family businesses, who recruit and train insiders to destroy from within. They call themselves the Inheritors. That sounds like a bad movie plot. Reality is often stranger than fiction. Look. She opens the journal to a page of photographs. Harold Fitzgerald arrested in Miami in 1998. Marcus Whitman, his protege, arrested in Dallas in 2014. Rebecca Chen, their associate, currently targeting a family in Seattle. It's a network, Breanna. Your sister was recruited young, trained carefully, and when she was ready, they sent Marcus to activate her. Why our family? Your father's business was the perfect target. Successful enough to be worth stealing, small enough to fly under federal radar. Family dynamics that could be exploited. And Sienna was already primed, already resentful, already willing to betray for the right price. I set down my teacup with shaking hands. How many families have they destroyed? Dozens that I can document. Possibly hundreds more. They're careful, patient. They space out their crimes across years and states. By the time patterns emerge, they've moved on. The FBI needs to know about this. They will. But first you need to make a decision. Charlotte fixes me with those penetrating eyes. I'm not just a wrong grandmother watching from the sidelines. I've been building a case, yes, but I've also been building something else. She walks to a painting of a seascape pressing a hidden catch. The painting swings open, revealing a safe. Inside are stacks of documents and what appears to be several $1 million in bearer bonds. Your grandfather left me very well provided for. I've used that provision to create a foundation, one that helps families targeted by these criminals. We provide legal support, financial assistance, therapy, whatever it takes to help them rebuild. But we do more than that. What do you mean? We hunt them. We track their movements, document their crimes, build cases that can't be ignored. We have researchers, former FBI agents, forensic accountants, even reformed criminals who help us understand their methods. We've brought down 17 members of their network in the past 5 years. You're running a vigilante organization. I prefer to think of it as aggressive philanthropy, but yes, we operate in gray areas when necessary, which brings me to why you're here. She returns to her chair, suddenly looking every one of her 74 years. I'm not immortal, Breanna. The Foundation needs leadership that understands the personal costs of these crimes. It needs someone with the intelligence to see patterns, the courage to act, and the integrity to know where the lines are. You want me to take over? I want you to consider it. Your life has been destroyed through no fault of your own. You can rebuild it, certainly. Get another tech job, move to another city, try to forget. Or you can transform your pain into purpose. Help save other families from what you've endured. I don't know anything about running a foundation. You know about systems. You know about problem solving. You know about persistence in the face of impossible odds. The rest can be learned. I stand walking to the wall of evidence. Among the photos, I spot several of Sienna at restaurants with Harold when she was just 15, at banks, at meetings with people I don't recognize. My parents never knew. They never even suspected. What about Mom and Dad? Do they know any of this? Charlotte's silence is answer enough. They won't listen, she says finally. I've tried through intermediaries. Even now, with Sienna arrested, they believe she was manipulated by Marcus alone. They can't accept that their golden child was rotten from the inside, that they enabled her destruction of you. Maybe with this evidence. My dear girl, Charlotte's voice is gentle but firm. Some people prefer comfortable lies to uncomfortable truths. Your parents built their world around Sienna being special and you being problematic. Admitting they were wrong would mean admitting they failed you catastrophically. Not everyone has that kind of courage. A knock at the door interrupts us. One of my FBI escorts enters. Ms. Matthews, there's been a development. Marcus Whitman wants to make a deal. He's offering to testify against the entire network in exchange for reduced charges. Charlotte and I exchange glances. He's scared, she says. Good. Fear makes people honest. Agent Weston wants you back in Houston, the escort continues. She says your testimony will be crucial in verifying whatever Marcus reveals. I look at Charlotte. Come with me. Share what you know with the FBI. Help us bring them all down. She smiles, and for a moment I see the grandmother who taught me to plant roses. I thought you'd never ask. But first, there's one more thing you need to see. She hands me a manila envelope. Inside are photographs of a young woman who looks startlingly like me. The resemblance is uncanny. Who is this? Your cousin. My son Robert's daughter. He was my first child born before I married your grandfather. I gave him up for adoption. Different times, different pressures. I found him 10 years ago. His daughter Emma is 25, a prosecutor in Dallas. She knows about you, about what's happened. She wants to help. I have a cousin. The revelation feels surreal after everything else. You have family beyond the toxic circle you were born into. Emma is brilliant, fierce, and understands justice in ways your parents never will. She's been working with the foundation building cases against white-collar criminals who prey on families. Does Mom know she has a brother? No, another secret I kept to protect everyone involved. But secrets have a way of surfacing, don't they? I think about all the secrets that have come to light. Sienna's crimes, Marcus's network, now this hidden family. It feels like my entire life has been built on foundations I never knew existed. We should go, I say finally. The FBI needs to know everything. Charlotte nods already, moving to pack documents. I'll have my lawyers meet us there. Breanna, I want you to know something. These 12 years of exile weren't wasted. Every document I gathered, every criminal I tracked, every family I helped save, I did it thinking of you, hoping that one day when the truth came out, I'd be ready to help you reclaim your life. Why didn't you reach out sooner? Because you needed to be strong enough to handle the truth. The granddaughter I knew at 12 would have broken under this weight. The woman standing before me now, she can carry it and transform it into something powerful. As we prepare to leave, I notice the lavender roses through the window blooming despite the Texas heat. Beautiful things can grow in difficult soil indeed. One more question, I say as Charlotte sets her security system. Harold Fitzgerald, what happened to him? Her smile is sharp as a winter frost. He died in prison 5 years ago. Turns out his fellow inmates didn't appreciate people who destroyed families. Karma has a way of collecting its debts. We drive to the FBI office in separate cars, security escorts surrounding us. I watch Houston pass by through tinted windows, thinking about the strange turns life takes. This morning, I was a victim trying to clear my name. Tonight, I might be stepping into a larger war against criminals I never knew existed. But I'm not afraid anymore. For the first time in months, I feel like I have a purpose beyond mere survival. Sienna and Marcus thought they destroyed me. Instead, they've awakened something stronger. The FBI building looms ahead, and with it the next chapter of a story I never expected to be part of, but I'm ready to write it. The FBI conference room has become my second home over the past week. Marcus Whitman, now in federal custody and facing life in prison, has been singing like a canary. Every session reveals new depths to the criminal network Charlotte uncovered. But today is different. Today, we go public. Agent Weston stands before a whiteboard covered in photos, names, and connecting lines that look like a spider's web of crime. Marcus has given us 43 names across 16 states. The inheritors have been operating for over 20 years, destroying approximately 200 families that we can verify. 200 families. The number sits heavy in the room. That's hundreds of siblings turned against each other. Parents' bankrupted children framed for crimes they didn't commit. Your grandmother's intelligence correlates with 90% of what Marcus has revealed. Weston continues. Her foundation has been invaluable. We're planning coordinated arrests across the country tomorrow at dawn. David, my lawyer, leans forward. What about Breanna's public image? The media still thinks she's a criminal. That changes today. Weston nods to a young agent who starts distributing press packets. We're holding a press conference at 2 o'clock. The Houston Chronicle has agreed to run a feature story. CNN wants an exclusive interview. The narrative is about to shift dramatically. I flip through the press packet. My unflattering photo has been replaced with a professional headshot David insisted I take. The headlines are different now. Software engineer exposes multi-state crime ring and family fraud network destroyed by victim's courage. Are my parents going to be there? I ask quietly. Weston's expression softens. They were invited. They haven't responded. Charlotte, who's been quietly reviewing documents, speaks up. They're in denial. Sarah called me last night drunk, asking how I could support the daughter who destroyed Sienna's life. Even with all the evidence, she can't accept the truth. Maybe seeing it on the news will help. I say, though, I don't really believe it. Emma, my newfound cousin, squeezes my shoulder. She flew in from Dallas the moment Charlotte told her she could reveal their connection. Having a prosecutor in the family has been invaluable. She understands the legal nuances and has been coaching me on my testimony. "Oh, focus on the victims you're helping," she advises. "Your parents may never come around, but hundreds of other families will get justice because of your courage." The morning flies by in a blur of preparation. A makeup artist works to hide the stress lines and sleepless nights. A speech coach reviews my statement one more time. The FBI's public relations team briefs me on potential questions and how to handle hostile reporters who might still believe the original narrative. Then it's time. The press conference is held at the federal courthouse, its limestone steps providing a backdrop of institutional authority. The crowd is larger than I expected. Reporters, photographers, curious onlookers, and surprisingly other victims. Sarah Patterson drove in from Oklahoma. 3 other families Marcus named have sent representatives. They stand together, a silent testament to survival. Agent Weston speaks first, laying out the facts in her crisp professional manner. The scope of the conspiracy draws gasps from the crowd. When she plays excerpts from Rosa's videos, Sienna forging signatures, Marcus discussing their plans, the reporters lean forward hungrily. Then it's my turn. I approach the microphone on unsteady legs. The prepared statement waits on the podium, but when I look up at the crowd, I see faces that mirror my own pain. I set the paper aside. My name is Breanna Matthews. I begin, my voice stronger than I expected. 4 months ago, I was a software engineer living a quiet life in Austin. Today, I stand here as proof that sometimes the people we trust most are the ones capable of the greatest betrayal. I tell my story simply without embellishment. The childhood of taking blame, the years of sending money while my sister took credit, the escalation when I finally stood up for myself, the systematic destruction of my life. But this isn't just about me, I continue. It's about Sarah Patterson, who lost her family's farm. It's about Michael Chen, whose brother convinced him he was losing his mind while stealing his inheritance. It's about every family sitting at home right now wondering if that helpful relative is actually a trained criminal preparing to destroy them. A reporter raises her hand. Ms. Matthews, your sister claims she was manipulated by Marcus Whitman. Do you believe she's also a victim? I pause, choosing my words carefully. My sister was 15 when Harold Fitzgerald began grooming her. In that sense, yes, she was victimized, but she made choices. She chose to forge documents. She chose to frame me. She chose to destroy our parents' business while pretending to save it. At some point, we have to take responsibility for our actions regardless of who influenced us. What about your parents? Have they reached out? No. The simple word carries years of pain. They're processing a difficult truth that they enabled one daughter to destroy another. I hope someday we can reconcile, but I'm not waiting for their approval anymore. I have my own life to rebuild. Another hand shoots up. What's next for you? Will you return to tech? I glance at Charlotte, who nods encouragingly. I'm taking a position with the Matthews Foundation for Family Justice. We help families targeted by financial predators. We provide legal support counseling, and yes, we work with law enforcement to ensure these criminals face justice. Isn't that a conflict of interest given your grandmother runs the foundation? Emma steps forward. I'm Emma Richardson, prosecutor with the Dallas DA's office and Breanna's cousin. I've been working with the foundation for 2 years. Our work is transparent, ethical, and desperately needed. Breanna's experience makes her uniquely qualified to help other victims. The questions continue for another 20 minutes. Some reporters remain skeptical, but most seem convinced by the mountain of evidence. When it's over, Sarah Patterson approaches me. Thank you, she says simply, for believing me, for fighting back. My family thought I was crazy for years. Today, they finally understand what really happened. One by one, other victims approach. Each has a story of betrayal, of being disbelieved, of losing everything to someone they trusted. By the time the crowd disperses, I've collected 24 business cards and promises to be in touch. That evening, we watch the news coverage from Charlotte's living room. Every major network leads with the story. The narrative has completely flipped. I've gone from villain to hero in a single news cycle. My phone, silent for weeks, suddenly explodes with messages. Former colleagues expressing support, friends apologizing for doubting me. Job offers from tech companies impressed by my problem-solving skills. Even my ex-boyfriend Daniel texts saying he always believed in me. I delete that one without responding. You did well, Charlotte says, pouring wine for everyone. The hardest part is over. Is it? I ask. Sienna's trial hasn't even started. The other arrests haven't been made. And my parents? Your parents are watching the news right now, questioning everything they believed, Emma says. Give them time. Truth, this heavy, takes a while to sink in. As if summoned by her words, my phone rings. Mom's number appears on the screen. My finger hovers over the decline button, but Charlotte catches my hand. Answer it, she says gently. You're strong enough now. I step onto the terrace for privacy. Hello. Breanna. Mom's voice is small, broken. I just saw the news. Is it true, all of it? Yes, Mom, every word. Silence stretches between us. I can hear Dad in the background, his voice muffled but clearly agitated. We didn't know, she finally says. How could we not know our own daughter? Because you didn't want to know, because it was easier to blame me than see Sienna for who she really was. That's not... We loved you both. No, Mom. You loved the idea of us, the golden child and the scapegoat. It was a story you told yourselves so often you believed it was true. She's crying now, great gulping sobs that might have moved me once. Now I just feel tired. Can you ever forgive us? She asks. I don't know. Maybe someday, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean letting you back into my life to hurt me again. We want to make it right. Tell us how to make it right. Start by getting therapy. Real therapy, not just talking to your church friends. Understand why you were so willing to believe lies about one daughter while enabling another to destroy herself and everyone around her. Then, maybe we can talk. The business is gone. Dad's voice comes through, apparently having taken the phone. Everything I built, everything I worked for, gone. The money can be recovered, I say. The FBI will help with asset recovery. But Dad, you need to understand something. The business was dying long before I stopped those payments. Sienna was bleeding it dry. I was just postponing the inevitable. Those payments, they really were from you? Every penny for 3 years, while you praised Sienna for her generosity and treated me like a disappointment. The silence is deafening. Finally, Dad speaks again. I failed you. As a father, as a protector, I failed you completely. It's the first honest thing he's said to me in years. Yes, I agree. You did, but you can choose to do better now. Get help. Learn from this. Maybe help other families avoid our mistakes. We talk for a few more minutes, awkward and painful but necessary. When I finally hang up, I find Charlotte waiting with a fresh glass of wine and a knowing smile. How do you feel? She asks. Empty, full, angry, relieved, everything at once. That's healing, she says, messy and nonlinear and absolutely necessary. Back inside, Emma is on her laptop already working on briefs for tomorrow's arrests. The news continues its coverage with legal experts analyzing the case and psychologists discussing family fraud dynamics. My face appears on screen intermittently, no longer the villain, but the survivor. Tomorrow will be chaos. Agent Weston warns joining us for a drink. Once the arrests begin, the media attention will intensify. Are you prepared for that? I think about all I've lost. My job, my reputation, my family as I knew it. But I also think about what I've gained. Truth, justice, a grandmother who never stopped believing in me, a cousin I never knew existed, and a purpose beyond my own survival. I'm ready, I say, and for the first time in months, I actually mean it. Charlotte raises her glass. 2 uncomfortable truths and new beginnings. We toast, the crystal chiming like bells. Outside, Houston glitters in the darkness, unaware that by dawn, dozens of predators will be dragged into the light. For years, they've operated in shadows, destroying families for profit. Tomorrow, the hunting season ends. Tonight, for the first time in months, I'll sleep without fear. And that, more than any public vindication, feels like victory. Dawn arrives with synchronized raids across 16 states. I watch from the FBI command center as agents arrest member after member of the Inheritors Network. Each arrest is a family saved from future destruction, but my attention keeps drifting to the monitor, showing the raid on my parents' house. They're not being arrested, Agent Weston assured me of that, but investigators need to fully document the financial crimes committed through Dad's business. Watching federal agents carry boxes from my childhood home feels surreal. Your father is cooperating fully, Weston tells me. He's provided access to all accounts, all records. He seems broken. 25 years of building that business gone. I can't keep the sadness from my voice, despite everything. The forensic accountants might be able to recover some assets, but she shakes her head. The damage is extensive. They're looking at bankruptcy. By noon, the extent of the catastrophe becomes clear. Janet, my forensic accountant, presents the final numbers with grim efficiency. Total embezzlement, $347,000 over 18 months. But that's just direct theft. The indirect damage, lost contracts due to missed deadlines, penalties for tax delays, lawsuits from unpaid vendors, brings the total loss close to $800,000. $800,000! The number is staggering. Your $5,000 monthly payments were essentially life support. Without them, and with the ongoing theft, the business had about 6 weeks of runway left. Major contracts are already pulling out. Henderson Construction canceled their partnership this morning. 3 more are expected to follow. What about the employees? I think of the crews who've worked for Dad for years, the office staff, the project managers who had nothing to do with Sienna's crimes. 17 people will lose their jobs by week's end. Your father is trying to help them find positions with competitors, but his reputation is toxic right now. Association with the company is a liability. Emma, who's been reviewing contracts, speaks up. There might be a way to salvage something. The physical assets, equipment vehicles, the warehouse, could be sold to satisfy creditors. A few of the government contracts might transfer to a new entity. It won't save the business, but it might prevent total loss. Who would buy assets from a company involved in this scandal? Charlotte, who's been uncharacteristically quiet, clears her throat. I would. We all turn to stare at her. Through the foundation, she clarifies. We could purchase the assets at fair market value, satisfy the creditors, and ensure the employees receive proper severance. The equipment could be donated to vocational schools. The warehouse could become a community center. Something good could come from the wreckage. Why would you do that, I ask, after how they treated you? Because your father built something real, even if he lost his way. Those employees don't deserve to suffer for Sienna's crimes. And because she pauses, meeting my eyes, it's what family does. Real family. The rest of the day is a whirlwind of emergency meetings. Charlotte's lawyers work with the bankruptcy court to fast-track an asset purchase. Emma coordinates with prosecutors to ensure the sale won't interfere with criminal proceedings. I find myself in the strange position of helping dissolve my father's life's work while trying to minimize the damage to innocent bystanders. At 4 o'clock, my phone rings. Dad again. The news says you're helping with the bankruptcy proceedings, he says without preamble. Charlotte is buying the assets to help the employees. I'm just facilitating. Your grandmother, she's involved. She's been involved all along, Dad, watching, documenting, waiting for the truth to come out. She never stopped caring about our family, even after you exiled her. Silence. Then I got a call from Tom Reeves. He runs Reeves Construction, says a software engineer named Matthews recommended some of my guys for positions. Was that you? Your crews don't deserve to be unemployed because of Sienna's choices. Even after everything, you're still trying to help. Not you, Dad. Them. Jorge has 3 kids in college. Mike just bought his first house. They trusted you, worked hard for you. They deserve better than unemployment because you trusted the wrong daughter. He breaks down, then ugly sobs that remind me he's human despite everything. I destroyed everything. My business, my family, your life. How do I come back from this? I don't know if you do, but you start by taking responsibility. Real responsibility, not just words. Get help. Make amends where you can. Accept that some things can't be fixed. Your mother wants to visit Sienna in jail. The statement hangs between us like a challenge. That's her choice. But Dad, if you enable Sienna again, if you let her convince you she's the victim here, then you've learned nothing. She's still my daughter. So am I, but that never seemed to matter much before. After we hang up, I sit in the empty conference room trying to process the day. Charlotte finds me there, 2 cups of tea in hand. You handled that well, she says, settling beside me. Did I feel like I'm watching my childhood disappear in real time. Every piece of Dad's business that gets sold, every employee who gets laid off, it's like erasing the past. Perhaps that's not entirely bad. That past included a lot of pain for you. It included good things too, bringing Dad lunch on job sites, learning to read blueprints, the company picnics where Sienna was actually nice for a few hours. I laugh bitterly, though now I wonder if she was plotting even then. The past is complex. It can hold joy and pain simultaneously. The key is not letting either define your future. Agent Weston enters with updates. 37 arrests so far. Marcus's information is solid gold. We've seized about $12 million in assets from the network. $12 million stolen from families, I muse. How many Siennas are out there convinced they deserve to destroy their siblings? Fewer now, thanks to you. That evening, the news coverage is overwhelming. Every channel features the arrests, the scope of the fraud network, the families coming forward with their stories. My face appears repeatedly. The woman who brought down the inheritors. Tom from TechFlow calls, Breanna, I owe you an apology. The board wants to offer you your position back, with a promotion and a raise. I appreciate that, Tom, but I've accepted another position. The foundation Charlotte mentioned in the press conference. Yes. Turns out stopping predators from destroying families is my calling. Who knew? If you change your mind, the door's open, and Breanna. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I should have known better. After declining 2 more job offers and 1 book deal, I turn off my phone. Tomorrow, Sienna's formal sentencing hearing begins. She's already pled guilty as part of a deal, but victims get to make statements. I've written mine 17 times, never quite capturing what I want to say. Charlotte and Emma help me practice one more time. The words feel hollow, inadequate to express years of manipulation and months of destruction. How do you summarize a lifetime of sisterly betrayal in a few minutes? Speak from your heart, Emma advises, not about what she did, but about who you choose to be despite it. That night, I can't sleep. I walk through Charlotte's garden, finding the lavender roses by moonlight. They're blooming out of season defiant against nature's timeline. Like me, I suppose. Blooming despite circumstances designed to make me wither. A text arrives from an unknown number. For a moment, I fear it's another threat, but then I read it. My name is Amy Chen. Marcus Whitman destroyed my family 5 years ago. Seeing your courage on the news gave me the strength to finally report what happened to us. Thank you for showing me it's not too late for justice. Then another. You don't know me, but my brother was recruited by the inheritors. Your story made him realize he was being groomed to betray us. He came to us tonight and confessed everything. You saved our family. By morning, I have 43 similar messages. Families saved victims, empowered predators exposed. Each message is a reminder that my pain has purpose now. Dad calls one last time before the hearing. The business filed for bankruptcy this morning. 25 years gone with a judge's signature. I'm sorry, Dad. I know how much it meant to you. It meant more than it should have. More than you, apparently. I spent so much time building something to leave my children that I forgot to actually parent them. Is it, Dad? No, let me say this. I've been awake all night thinking. Every time you achieved something, Sienna convinced us it was wrong somehow. Every time she failed, she had an excuse we accepted. We didn't raise a golden child and a scapegoat. We raised a predator and a survivor. The fact that you still tried to help after everything we did, that's not because of us. That's despite us. What are you saying? I'm saying you deserved better parents, and I'm saying I'm going to therapy, real therapy, your mother too. Maybe someday we can have a relationship built on truth instead of lies. But if that day never comes, know that I finally see who you really are. And I am proud of the woman you became without us. The call ends with tears on both sides. It's not forgiveness. That will take time if it comes at all, but it's a start. An acknowledgement of truth after years of delusion. Charlotte drives me to the courthouse, Emma beside me. The media circus is in full swing, but I don't care about cameras anymore. Inside that building waits my sister and one last chance to speak my truth. Ready? Charlotte asks. I think of Dad's business dissolving, of employees scattered to the wind, of a legacy destroyed by greed and lies. I think of Amy Chen and 42 others who found courage in my pain. I think of the lavender roses blooming against all odds. I'm ready. We walk into the courthouse together. The grandmother who never stopped believing the cousin I never knew I had, and me, the scapegoat who refused to stay silent. Today, Sienna faces judgment, but more importantly today, I reclaim my voice. And that's a victory no amount of theft can steal. The federal courthouse in Houston has become strangely familiar over the past 6 months. I know which security guard has pictures of grandchildren in his wallet, which vending machine has the least stale coffee, which bathroom echoes least when you're having a breakdown. Today, as Sienna's sentencing hearing approaches, the building thrums with unusual energy. Ooh, victim impact statements can be therapeutic, the victim's advocate Patricia Huang explains as we sit in a small conference room. But they can also be re-traumatizing. Are you sure you want to do this? I need to, I say, clutching my written statement. Version 18 finished at 3 this morning. Not for her, but for me. Emma reviews the prosecution's final arguments one more time. Sienna pled guilty to 14 counts, including wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit fraud, and money laundering. The plea deal recommends 12 to 15 years, but the judge can deviate based on victim statements and the severity of impact. 12 years, I murmur. She destroyed my life in months, and she gets 12 years. Federal time, Charlotte reminds me gently. No early release for good behavior like state prison. She'll serve at least 85%. A knock interrupts us. Agent Weston enters with a grim expression. There's been a development. Marcus Whitman was attacked in federal holding this morning. My blood runs cold. Is he alive? Apparently, one of his former partners didn't appreciate him turning state's evidence. He's in protective custody now, but it's a reminder that the inheritors have long reaches and longer memories. Are we in danger? Emma asks, immediately shifting into prosecutor mode. We don't believe so. The attack was targeted at Marcus specifically, but we're increasing security for the hearing as a precaution. The next few hours blur together. More victims arrive to give statements. Sarah Patterson from Oklahoma, Michael Chen from Nevada, the Reinhardts from Colorado. We sit together in a strange fellowship of betrayal, each nursing wounds inflicted by people we trusted. How do you forgive? Sarah asks quietly. My sister took everything, and even now part of me misses who I thought she was. I don't think it's about forgiveness, Michael replies. It's about accepting they were never who we thought they were. We're mourning people who never existed. At noon, my parents arrive. They look smaller, somehow diminished by truth and consequence. Dad's hair has gone completely gray in 6 months. Mom leans heavily on a cane I've never seen before. They sit in the back row as far from Charlotte as possible. Should I talk to them? I ask Emma. That's your choice. But remember, you're here as a victim, not a daughter trying to hold her family together. I decide to wait until after. Whatever happens in that courtroom, I need to face it without the added weight of their expectations or apologies. Prosecutors begin presenting the full scope of Sienna's crimes. Charts show money flows. Forged documents display on screens. The fake emails she created to frame me are read aloud, each word a calculated betrayal. The accumulated evidence is devastating. Then they play Rosa's videos. Seeing Sienna on that grainy footage, calmly discussing how to destroy me while practicing Dad's signature, breaks something inside me. The courtroom watches a young woman plan her sister's downfall with the efficiency of someone planning a grocery list. The pathetic thing Sienna says in one recording is she'll probably still try to help the parents after I frame her. She's always been weak that way, thinking love means something. Several jurors visibly recoil. In the gallery, Mom starts crying quietly. Marcus testifies via video link from protective custody, his face bruised but his words clear. He details how he trained Sienna, how she exceeded even his expectations for manipulation. Most family members we recruited showed some hesitation, some guilt, he says. Sienna never did. She seemed to enjoy it, especially the parts that hurt her sister. I've done this 23 times. She was the most natural predator I ever trained. The prosecutor asks, did she ever express remorse? Only that she hadn't started sooner. She said 12 years of letting Breanna succeed was 12 years of money wasted. During a recess, I escape to the bathroom where Sarah Patterson finds me, splashing cold water on my face. It gets easier, she says. The first time seeing them as they really are is the hardest. After that, you stop looking for the person you thought you knew. When does it stop hurting? I'll let you know when I find out. Back in court, the defense presents Sienna as a victim of Marcus's manipulation. They show childhood photos. Sienna and me at Christmas at the beach at birthday parties. In every picture, I notice now what I missed. Then her calculating eyes, even as a child. The way she positions herself in front, pushing me to edges. The possessive grip on toys' pets' attention. Dr. Patricia Vance, a psychiatrist, testifies that Sienna shows signs of narcissistic personality disorder with antisocial features. While Mr. Whitman certainly influenced her methods, her underlying lack of empathy appears long-standing. She views relationships as transactions and family members as resources to exploit. Is she capable of rehabilitation? The defense attorney asks hopefully. In my professional opinion, individuals with this severity of antisocial traits rarely change. They may learn to mimic appropriate behaviors, but genuine empathy remains absent. Finally, it's time for victim statements. Sarah goes first, her voice trembling as she describes losing the farm that had been in her family for 4 generations. Michael follows, detailing how his brother's betrayal led to his divorce and estrangement from his children. Then it's my turn. I walk to the podium on unsteady legs. Sienna sits at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, her hair pulled back severely. She looks smaller than I remember ordinary. When our eyes meet, she smirks slightly, even now trying to intimidate me. I unfold my statement and begin. Your Honor, I've written 18 versions of this statement. In some, I raged about the money stolen, the reputation destroyed, the family shattered. In others, I tried to understand how my sister became someone capable of such calculated cruelty. But standing here now, I realize none of that matters. What matters is that Sienna Matthews weaponized love. She took the trust inherent in family and turned it into a tool for destruction. Every childhood memory I have is now tainted by wondering if she was planning even then. Every moment of sisterly affection feels like a setup for future betrayal. She didn't just steal money, she stole my parents' ability to trust, my ability to feel safe in relationships, my faith in family itself. She convinced our parents I was a thief while she robbed them blind. She had me arrested for her crimes while smiling for news cameras. She tried to destroy not just my present, but any future I might build. But she failed. I look directly at Sienna now. Her smirk falters. She failed because truth is stronger than lies, even elaborate ones. She failed because the very empathy she lacks is what allowed me to survive. The connection she saw as weakness became my strength. The integrity she mocked protected me when her schemes unraveled. I've lost my job, my home, my savings, and in many ways, my family. But I've gained something Sienna will never have. The knowledge that I faced the worst betrayal possible and chose to remain myself. I chose truth over comfortable lies. I chose justice over revenge. I chose to help other families avoid our fate. Your Honor, Sienna Matthews is not a victim of manipulation. She is a predator who found a mentor. Marcus Whitman taught her methods, but the cruelty was all her own. She deserves the maximum sentence, not just for what she did, but for what she would do if released. Because people like my sister don't stop. They just find new families to destroy. I request the court consider not just the financial crimes, but the psychological terrorism she inflicted. I request protection for future victims from someone who sees human connection as exploitable weakness. And I request that somewhere in her sentence, she be required to hear the stories of every family the inheritors destroyed, though I doubt she has the capacity to truly understand the pain she's caused. Thank you. The courtroom is silent as I return to my seat. Charlotte takes my hand, squeezing gently. Behind us, I hear Mom sobbing openly now. Sienna's lawyer calls her to speak on her own behalf. This should be interesting. She stands attempting to project remorse she doesn't feel. I'm sorry for the pain I've caused. She begins reading from a clearly prepared statement. I was young and influenced by someone who promised me a better life. I see now how wrong I was. Oh, cut the act, Judge Harrison interrupts. I've reviewed your communications, Ms. Matthews. Your enthusiasm for these crimes is well documented. If you have something genuine to say it. Otherwise, sit down. Sienna's mask finally drops completely. The practiced remorse vanishes, replaced by cold fury. Fine. You want genuine? I'm not sorry. I'm sorry I got caught. I'm sorry Breanna grew a spine at the wrong moment. I'm sorry Marcus turned out to be weak, but sorry for taking what should have been mine never. What should have been yours, the judge asks. Everything. I was the firstborn, the wanted child. Breanna was an accident who stole my parents' attention, their resources, their love. Every scholarship she got was stolen from me. Every achievement was a deliberate attempt to make me look bad. So yes, I took money. I took credit. I tried to take her freedom. It was justice. Ms. Matthews, do you understand you've just confessed to feeling no remorse for your crimes? I understand perfectly. Lock me up. But know this. I'll spend every day planning what I'll do when I get out. And Breanna, watch your back. 12 years or 20, I'll be coming. The courtroom erupts. The judge bangs his gavel repeatedly. Security moves closer to the defense table. In the chaos, I feel strangely calm. She's finally showing everyone what I've always known. The sister I mourned never existed. That's enough, Judge Harrison says once order is restored. Ms. Matthews, you've made my decision considerably easier. I'll render my sentence after a brief recess. During the break, my parents approach. They look shattered, aged a decade in an hour. We didn't know, Mom whispers. How did we not know? Because you didn't want to, I say simply, because believing her was easier than questioning why one daughter was always to blame. Dad can't meet my eyes. The things she said, has she always hated you that much? Yes, you just chose not to see it. Can you ever forgive us? Mom asks. I don't know, but forgiveness doesn't mean pretending this didn't happen. You have a lot of work to do on yourselves before we can even begin to discuss rebuilding a relationship. They nod, accepting judgment they know they deserve. As they return to their seats, Charlotte murmurs, "That was generous, more than I might have managed." They're broken enough. Adding to it won't fix anything. When did you become so wise? Sometime between losing everything and finding myself. Judge Harrison returns his expression grave. The courtroom falls silent. Ms. Matthews, please rise. Sienna stands chin lifted in defiance. Your lack of remorse, your threats against your victim, and the scope of your crimes leave me no choice. I sentence you to 20 years in federal prison, followed by 5 years supervised probation. You are ordered to pay full restitution to all victims. You are prohibited from any contact with your family members unless they initiate it. And Ms. Matthews, your threat against your sister has been noted. Any attempt to harm her during or after your incarceration will result in additional charges. 20 years. Not enough for what she did, but more than the plea deal recommended. Sienna doesn't react. As guards prepare to lead her away, she looks at me one last time. This isn't over, she mouths. Yes, I mouth back, it is. And for me, it finally is. She'll spend 2 decades in federal prison while I spend them helping families avoid her fate. She'll stew in rage while I build something meaningful from ruins. She chose revenge. I choose recovery. As they lead her away, I don't watch. I've seen enough of my sister to last a lifetime. Instead, I look forward where Charlotte and Emma wait with small smiles and steady support. Ready to go home? Charlotte asks. Home. A word that means something different now. Not the house where I was scapegoated or the apartment I lost to lies. Home is where truth lives, where chosen family gathers, where lavender roses bloom out of season. Yes, I say, let's go home. Outside the courthouse, reporters wait with questions I no longer need to answer. The story has been told. Justice has been served, and somewhere in federal processing, a woman who shares my DNA but nothing else begins the first day of 20 years of consequences. I hope she uses the time to find the humanity she lost, but I won't hold my breath. Some people choose darkness so completely that light becomes foreign. My sister is one of them. But I'm not. And that's the only victory that matters. The call comes at 6:43 in the morning, 2 weeks after Sienna's sentencing. I'm in Charlotte's kitchen watching Houston wake up through rain-streaked windows when my phone buzzes. Dad's number. I almost don't answer. Breanna. His voice sounds strange, hollow. Your mother had a stroke last night. She's at Methodist Hospital. The doctors. They say you should come. The drive passes in a blur of windshield wipers and barely contained panic. Despite everything, she's still my mother. The woman who taught me to read, who made soup when I was sick, who chose to believe lies over truth. Complicated love is still love. Charlotte insists on coming. You shouldn't face this alone, she says, and I don't argue. Emma meets us in the hospital lobby, having driven from Dallas the moment I texted. The ICU is a sterile maze of beeping machines and hushed voices. Dad sits in the waiting room looking every one of his 58 years and then some. When he sees us, something crumbles in his face. The doctors say it was stress-induced. The trial, the bankruptcy, everything. Her body just couldn't take anymore. He notices Charlotte and stiffens. Mother, I didn't expect... I'm here for Breanna, Charlotte says coolly. How is Sarah? Stable but unresponsive. They're running more tests. He turns to me, eyes red-rimmed. She kept saying your name before she couldn't speak anymore. Need to tell Breanna, over and over. A doctor approaches all professional composure and careful words. Mom is stable but critical. The stroke was significant. Recovery is possible but will be long and uncertain. Family can visit 2 at a time. You should go first, Dad says to me. Whatever she needed to tell you seemed important. The ICU room is dim, filled with the mechanical breathing of life support. Mom looks small in the hospital bed, fragile in a way I've never seen. I take her hand, the same hand that once slapped me for Sienna's lie, and squeeze gently. I'm here, Mom. Whatever you needed to say, I'm listening. Her eyes flutter open, focusing with visible effort. Her mouth moves, but no sound comes. Frustration flashes across her face. It's okay, take your time. She gestures weakly toward the bedside table where a notepad sits. I hand it to her with a pen. Her handwriting, once perfect teacher's script, is shaky but legible. Letters, attic, blue box. Letters in the attic, in a blue box. She nods, then writes more from her. Proof. Should have known. From Sienna. Another nod, then I'm sorry. Failed you. Both of us did. Mom. She squeezes my hand with surprising strength and keeps writing. Charlotte was right. Always right. We were cowards. The effort exhausts her. She closes her eyes, but her grip on my hand remains. I sit with her until Dad takes my place, promising to look for whatever she's trying to tell me. In the waiting room, I relay the conversation. Charlotte's expression sharpens. Letters. What letters could she have kept? I don't know, but she seemed desperate for me to find them. Emma, ever practical, suggests we should go look. If there's additional evidence of Sienna's crimes, it could be relevant for the restitution hearings. Dad gives us his house key with shaking hands. I haven't been home since yesterday. Haven't been in the attic in years. Whatever's up there. He trails off. The house I grew up in feels like a museum now. Same furniture, same photos on the walls, but everything carries the weight of revealed truth. We climb to the second floor, pull down the attic ladder, and ascend into dusty memories. The attic is a chaos of boxes, old furniture, and forgotten dreams. Christmas decorations tangle with yearbooks. Dad's old tools rust beside Mom's teaching supplies, and there in the corner beneath a wedding dress I'll never wear sits a blue filing box. Inside are hundreds of letters, all in Sienna's handwriting, organized by year. I pick one at random from 10 years ago. Dear Journal Today. I convinced Mom and Dad that Breanna cheated on her chemistry test. The look on her face when they grounded her was priceless. She actually cried, the baby. Mom said I was a good sister for telling them. If only they knew I was the one who put the answer key in her backpack. This is almost too easy. My hands shake as I read another from 5 years ago. Dear Journal Breanna, graduated summa cum laude today. Everyone kept congratulating her like she's special or something. I wanted to scream that I could have done the same if I'd wanted to waste 4 years on studying. Instead, I smiled and played proud sister while planning my next move. Marcus says patience is key. Let her build something worth taking. She kept journals. Emma breathes, reading over my shoulder. Detailed confessions of everything. Charlotte finds more recent ones. The monthly payments are perfect. $5,000 that Breanna slaves to send while I get the credit. Sometimes I wonder if she knows I'm taking credit, if she's really that pathetically desperate for their approval. Either way, I win. And the most damning data just before I stop the payments. Tomorrow at Madison's wedding, I'm going to push Breanna until she snaps. Marcus says, public humiliation is the final step before framing someone. Make them look unstable, emotional, unreliable. Then when we present our evidence, everyone remembers the crazy scene at the wedding. It's brilliant. She planned everything, I say numbly. Every single moment was calculated. There are more boxes. Letters to Harold Fitzgerald from when she was 15 talking about her potential and how she's ready to learn the real game. Financial documents showing secret accounts, practice signatures, even psychological books on manipulation with notes in the margins. Your mother knew, Charlotte says softly. She must have found these and realized the truth. But she still chose Sienna, I say, even with proof she chose her. Until she didn't. She kept them Breanna, hidden but preserved. Some part of her always knew she might need them. We photograph everything Emma, making sure we have legal documentation. 3 hours later, we've uncovered 20 years of evidence that Sienna was never the daughter my parents thought they were protecting. Back at the hospital, Mom is awake but still can't speak. I show her photos of what we found. Tears stream down her face as she writes, "Knew for 2 months. Too ashamed to admit. Stroke before could tell you. You've known for 2 months." She nods, writing more. Found them looking for Christmas decorations. Couldn't face it. Convinced myself they were stories, fantasies, but knew. Deep down, knew. Why didn't you say anything during the trial? Coward. Couldn't admit we destroyed you for her. Couldn't face Charlotte right. Easier to pretend. Dad reads the letters that evening, each word adding another year to his aged face. He doesn't speak for a long time then. We knew. God help us, some part of us always knew she was different. Wrong. But it was easier to blame you than admit we were raising a monster. Why was it easier? Because you were strong enough to take it. Because you never broke, never became cruel, never stopped trying. Sienna would fall apart at the slightest criticism. But you just got stronger. We told ourselves it was building character. It was building scar tissue. Yes, the simple acknowledgement holds 28 years of parenting failures. Over the next week, Mom slowly improves. Speech therapy helps her communicate basic needs. Physical therapy brings movement back to her right side. But the biggest change is in her eyes. The delusion is gone, replaced by awful clarity. Every memory hurts now, she writes one afternoon. See her manipulation in all of it. That's what truth does, I tell her. It rewrites history. Dad has started therapy, real therapy with a specialist in family trauma. He shares pieces in our brief conversations. The therapist says we created a golden child and scapegoat dynamic. Says it's common in dysfunctional families. One child can do no wrong, the other no right. Says Sienna learned to exploit it. Sienna created it, I correct. You just let her. No. His voice is firm. We created the environment. She exploited it, yes, but we built the stage. Every time we took her side without question, every time we punished you for her crimes, we taught her that manipulation worked. We taught her that you were expendable. It's the most honest he's ever been about their role. Charlotte meets with them finally after Mom is moved to a regular room. The conversation is stilted, 20 years of hurt sitting between them like a physical presence. You were right. Mom manages to say words slurred but understandable about everything. Sienna, favoritism, all of it. I didn't want to be right, Charlotte replies. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted my granddaughters to have better than what I saw developing. Why didn't you fight harder? Dad asks. Why did you let us cut you off? Because you threatened legal action. Because you said I'd never see the girls again if I persisted. Because I hoped time would reveal what my words couldn't. She pauses. I waited too long. Failed Breanna by not fighting harder. We all failed her, Mom says. The letters become evidence in the restitution hearings. Sienna's own words damn her further removing any possibility of appeal based on Marcus's influence. The prosecutors are almost giddy with the additional evidence. This establishes premeditation going back over a decade. The lead prosecutor tells us, any judge reading these will understand this wasn't a crime of opportunity, but a lifetime of deliberate choices. News of the letters leaks, as news always does. The headlines are brutal, journals reveal decades of calculated sibling abuse, and the golden child was always tarnished. My parents bear the brunt of public judgment now, the enablers who chose blindness over protection. Do you regret exposing them to this? Emma asks one evening as we watch coverage that paints my parents as either criminally negligent or willfully blind. They exposed me to 28 years of Sienna's abuse. A few months of public shame seems like a small price. But watching Dad help Mom with physical therapy, seeing them both struggle with the weight of truth, I feel something I didn't expect: pity. Not forgiveness, not yet, maybe not ever, but pity for two people who built their own prison of denial and are only now seeing the bars. Would you consider family therapy? Mom asks one day, words coming easier now. All of us, with Charlotte too, try to build something real. Maybe. Someday, but not yet. You need to figure out who you are without Sienna to enable or me to blame. I need to figure out who I am without seeking your approval. We're not ready to be a family. When will we be? When the truth stops being something you're ashamed of and starts being something you own. When you stop saying, we didn't know, and start saying, we chose not to know. When you can look at Charlotte and admit she tried to save us all and you punished her for it. They nod, accepting terms they know are more than fair. That night, I dream of the blue box in the attic. But in my dream, it's not full of Sienna's letters. It's full of all the words I never got to say, all the defenses I couldn't mount, all the truth that went unheard for decades. I wake to find a text from Mom. Threw away all her photos today. Kept yours. Starting over. It's a small step. Maybe too small, maybe too late, but it's movement in the right direction. And after 28 years of moving backward, I'll take whatever forward motion they can manage. Charlotte finds me on the terrace watching the sunrise. How do you feel about all of this? Like I'm grieving people who are still alive. The parents I wished for, the sister I thought I had, the family we could have been. They're all gone, but the people who killed them are right there wanting forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't required, but peace. Peace you can choose for yourself with or without them. How long did it take you to find peace after they exiled you? She smiles sadly. I'll let you know when I find it, but I've found purpose, and sometimes that's enough. I think about the families we'll help through the foundation, the future victims we'll save from their own Siennas. Purpose from pain, beauty from ashes, lavender roses from poisoned soil. Yes, I agree. Sometimes purpose is enough. Mom is released 3 weeks later, walking with a cane but determined. Dad has closed the business, officially taken a job managing properties for Charlotte's company. They're in therapy twice a week. They're trying. Whether trying is enough remains to be seen. But for the first time in my life, they're seeing truth instead of comfortable lies. And that more than any apology feels like the beginning of something. Not healing, not yet. But maybe, eventually, honesty. And in a family built on lies, honesty is its own form of revolution. The federal courthouse is packed for Sienna's final restitution hearing 6 weeks after her sentencing. The journals we found have created a media sensation. The Golden Child Diaries, as some outlets call them. Every major news network has run specials on family fraud featuring experts discussing the psychology of sibling predators. I sit with Charlotte and Emma in the front row trying to ignore the cameras. Behind us, victims from across the country have gathered. Sarah Patterson flew in from Oklahoma again. Michael Chen brought his elderly parents. The Reinhardt family drove 3 days from Colorado. We're united by shared betrayal, bound by the strange fellowship of surviving our own blood. All rise. Judge Harrison enters, his expression grave. Sienna is brought in wearing shackles, orange jumpsuit hanging loose on her frame. Prison has already begun its work. Her carefully maintained appearance is gone, replaced by harsh reality. When she sees the packed courtroom, her jaw tightens. We're here to address the matter of restitution in case 2024 CR 5847. Judge Harrison begins. The court has reviewed the additional evidence provided, including the defendant's personal journals spanning 15 years. Ms. Matthews, do you have anything to say before I render my decision? Sienna stands, her public defender beside her. For a moment, I think she might finally show remorse. Then she speaks. Your Honor, those journals were private thoughts never meant to be seen. They were stolen from my parents' home without my permission. I object to their use in these proceedings. The judge's expression doesn't change. Ms. Matthews, you documented criminal conspiracy in those journals. They were discovered during a lawful search related to your crimes. Your objection is noted and overruled. Anything else? This is persecution. I'm being punished for thoughts and feelings, not just actions. Everyone has dark thoughts about family sometimes. Ms. Matthews, you documented specific crimes, planned future crimes, and celebrated successful manipulations. These aren't dark thoughts, they're confessions. Now, sit down. The prosecutor stands to present the full financial impact. Charts fill screens around the courtroom. The numbers are staggering. Direct theft from Matthews Construction, $347,000. Lost business value due to bankruptcy, $1.2 million. Breanna Matthews' lost wages and legal fees, $186,000. Therapy and medical costs for all victims, $234,000. Sarah Patterson's family farm, $2.3 million. Michael Chen's family restaurant, $890,000. The list continues. By the time all victims are accounted for, the total exceeds $8 million. Your Honor, the prosecutor continues, we've traced Ms. Matthews and Mr. Whitman's assets. Despite their elaborate money laundering, we've recovered approximately $3.4 million. We request full restitution to victims based on percentage of loss. What about her future earnings? Someone calls from the gallery. She should pay every cent she ever makes. Judge Harrison raises his hand for silence. I understand the anger. However, the court must balance justice with reality. Ms. Matthews will have limited earning potential after 20 years in federal prison. He turns to Sienna. That said, this court orders the following. All recovered assets will be distributed to victims proportionally. You are hereby ordered to pay 40% of any future earnings after basic living expenses toward restitution for the remainder of your life. This debt is non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. Your victims will be paid before you buy anything beyond necessities. That's slavery, Sienna shouts. You can't take my future earnings forever. I can and I have. You stole futures, Ms. Matthews. Consider this a small portion of repayment. The judge continues with additional orders. Sienna is barred from profiting from her crimes. No book deals, no movie rights, no paid interviews. Any attempt to circumvent this will result in additional charges. She's prohibited from using computers or smartphones without supervision upon release. She cannot work in any fiduciary capacity or handle others' money in any form. Furthermore, Judge Harrison adds, the court orders you to complete therapeutic programs specifically designed for individuals with antisocial personality disorder. Failure to comply will result in extended supervision upon release. I'm not mentally ill. No, Ms. Matthews. Mental illness implies a condition beyond one's control. What you have is a character defect you've chosen to nurture. But perhaps 20 years of therapy will help you develop the empathy you lack. As guards prepare to remove her, Sienna turns to our section. Enjoy the money, Breanna. It won't buy you a real family. It won't make them love you like they loved me. They never loved you, I say quietly, but my voice carries. They loved who they thought you were, just like I mourned a sister who never existed. The only real thing about you is your hatred, and that's all you'll have for company for 20 years. She lunges against her restraints, screaming obscenities. Guards quickly remove her as the courtroom erupts in chaos. Through it all, I feel oddly calm. She's shown everyone again exactly who she is. After order is restored and final documents signed, we file out into bright Texas sunshine. Reporters surge forward, but I've prepared a statement with Emma's help. Today's ruling doesn't undo the damage done to dozens of families, I read, but it does ensure that Sienna Matthews will spend decades paying for her choices. More importantly, it sends a message to other family predators: your victims are not alone, and justice, while slow, is certain. Ms. Matthews, how do you feel about your sister's outburst? It confirmed what the journals revealed. She's incapable of remorse, but that's her burden to bear, not mine. I have a life to rebuild and other families to help. What about your parents? Have they been supportive? I glance at Charlotte, who nods encouragingly. My parents are in therapy, confronting hard truths about their role in enabling these crimes. Our relationship may never fully heal, but they're trying to become people worthy of forgiveness. That's all anyone can ask. The crowd gradually disperses. Sarah Patterson hugs me tightly. Thank you for being brave enough to fight. You gave us all courage. Michael Chen's father, speaking through his son's translation, says something in Mandarin. Michael smiles. He says you have the heart of a warrior and the wisdom of a judge. In our family, that's the highest compliment. That evening, Charlotte hosts a dinner for all the victims' families. Her River Oaks home fills with voices sharing stories, not of pain, but of survival. The Reinhardt's daughter plays piano. Sarah's teenage son shows off college acceptance letters he thought he'd never receive. Michael's parents cook traditional dishes, filling the air with unfamiliar spices and unexpected joy. Look what you built from ashes, Emma tells me, gesturing at the gathered families. Connection from isolation, hope from despair. We built it, I correct, all of us refusing to let them win. Late that night, after everyone has gone, I find Charlotte in her study updating the wall of evidence. She's adding a new section, Victories, photos of families rebuilding, articles about the arrests, copies of restitution checks. 53 members of the inheritors are now in custody, she says. Hundreds of families will avoid what we experienced. Sienna's journals, horrible as they are, have become a textbook for recognizing family predators. Evil rarely creates such detailed documentation of its methods. She always did like to brag, I say, even if only to herself. Your parents called while you were saying goodbye to the Chens. They wanted to thank you for speaking neutrally about them to the press. Said they didn't deserve your kindness. What did you tell them? That kindness and honesty aren't mutually exclusive, that you gave them dignity they didn't afford you, that they should be grateful to have a daughter who chooses grace over vengeance. Do you think they'll ever really change? Charlotte considers this. Your mother's stroke forced truth on her in a way nothing else could. Mortality has a way of clarifying priorities. Your father seems genuinely broken by the revelations. Whether that leads to lasting change, she shrugs. Time will tell. My phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. For a moment, I tense. Old habits die hard. But it's from someone named Amanda Liu. My sister has been acting strangely, taking money, blaming me for things. After seeing your story, I realize I might be living your early chapters. Can we talk? I show Charlotte the message. She nods. The work continues. Evil doesn't rest just because we won one battle. I reply to Amanda, scheduling a call for tomorrow. Then another message arrives from someone else recognizing the patterns. Then another. By midnight, I have 17 requests for help. The foundation is going to need more staff, Emma notes, reading over my shoulder. This is just from today's coverage. Imagine when the full documentary airs next month. The documentary, another surreal development. A major network is producing a limited series about the inheritors, with episodes dedicated to different victims' stories. They've promised to focus on recovery and justice, not sensationalism. All proceeds will go to victim support funds. Are you ready for that level of exposure? Charlotte asks. Your story will be in millions of homes. If it saves one family from their own Sienna, it's worth it. The next morning brings unexpected news. Marcus Whitman has been found dead in his cell, apparent suicide. The official report suggests he knew other inheritors' members were coming for him and chose his own exit. His death eliminates our best source of information about the network's leadership, but perhaps that's justice of another kind. He was a coward to the end, Emma says when we meet for coffee. Couldn't face the consequences he helped create. I feel nothing, I realize with surprise. Not satisfaction, not disappointment. Nothing. He's just gone. That's healthy, actually. He doesn't deserve your emotional energy. Dad texts that afternoon. Saw the news about Marcus. Are you safe? Do you need anything? It's the first time he's reached out about my well-being without prompting. Baby steps. I'm safe, I reply. Foundation has good security. Take care of Mom. Every day, she started a journal of her own, not like Sienna's. This one is about accountability, documenting every time she chose wrong, trying to understand why. Therapists suggested it. That sounds healthy? Painful but healthy, like everything these days. That evening, I meet with Amanda Liu and her parents. Watching their family dynamic, I see echoes of my own past. The favored daughter who can do no wrong. The scapegoat who bears all blame, the parents who enable out of misplaced love. But this time, we can intervene early. Your daughter is showing classic signs of antisocial manipulation, I tell them gently but firmly. These aren't normal sibling rivalries. Look at this pattern. They don't want to believe it at first. No parent wants to think their child is capable of calculated cruelty. But Amanda's documentation is thorough, and eventually denial cracks. What do we do? Her mother asks, tears streaming. How do we stop this before it becomes, what happened to your family? Professional help immediately, boundaries consistently enforced, and most importantly, stop the golden child judge scapegoat dynamic now. Every child in this family deserves protection and accountability equally. They leave with referrals to specialists, hope mixing with heartbreak. Amanda hugs me tightly. Thank you for believing me. Everyone says I'm jealous overreacting. You're the first person who sees what's really happening. Because I lived it. But you don't have to live it as long as I did. You can stop this now. Walking back to my car, I realize this is my purpose now. Not just seeking justice for past crimes, but preventing future ones. Every family saved is a victory over the Siennas of the world. My phone rings. It's the federal prosecutor. Breanna, I wanted you to know, based on the evidence you provided, we're opening investigations into 12 more cases. Your sister's journals mentioned names we hadn't connected before. Even from prison, she's helping us catch predators. The one useful thing she's ever done for society. Unintentionally, yes. Also, the first restitution payments will be distributed next month. It's not much compared to what was lost, but it's a start. After we hang up, I sit in my car for a moment processing. 6 months ago, I was a public enemy #1, my life in ruins. Now, I'm helping rebuild dozens of lives, including my own. The money won't replace what was stolen. Trust innocence, family bonds, but it's something. A text from Charlotte. Wine and celebration, you've earned it. On my way, but let's make it tea. I want to stay clear-headed. We have work tomorrow. Because this victory, sweet as it is just the beginning. Somewhere tonight, another golden child is learning to lie. Another scapegoat is being blamed. Another family is choosing comfortable blindness over difficult truth. But now they're not alone. Now there's a foundation, a network, a voice saying, we see you, we believe you, and we'll help you fight. Sienna thought she destroyed me. Instead, she created something far more dangerous to predators, like her, a survivor with resources, connections, and unshakable purpose. I start the car and drive toward Charlotte's house, toward chosen family and lavender roses, toward a future Sienna never imagined in all her careful planning, one where her victims don't just survive, but thrive, where truth wins over lies eventually, where the scapegoats inherit something better than earth, they inherit justice. And that's a legacy worth building, one saved family at a time. 1 year later, San Francisco fog rolls past my office windows at Stratton Tech headquarters. The senior software architect position came with a corner office, though I spent the first month feeling like an imposter every time I walked through the door. Old habits die hard when you've spent a lifetime being told you don't deserve success. Matthews, you come into the all hands. My colleague Derek pops his head in casual and friendly. No one here knows my full story, just that I took time off for family matters before joining the company. The anonymity feels like freedom. Be right there. I close my laptop, where I'd been reviewing foundation cases during lunch. The Matthews Foundation for Family Justice now has 12 full-time staff members' offices in 3 cities and has helped over 200 families in its first year. Charlotte officially stepped down as president last month, handing me the reins with tears and pride. You've exceeded every dream I had, she'd said at the ceremony. Now make it your own. The tech job provides stability and normalcy, 2 things I desperately needed after the chaos. The foundation work feeds my soul, but debugging code and building systems grounds me in simple, solvable problems. Not every challenge needs to be life or death. After the meeting, I returned to find a package on my desk. No return address, but the handwriting is familiar. Inside is a single sheet of paper and a flash drive. Breanna, I've been in therapy for 8 months now. Real therapy, not the surface stuff we tried before. The therapist says I need to make amends without expecting forgiveness. So here's my attempt. The flash drive contains every email, every text, every communication Sienna and I had over the years that I saved. I don't know if it helps with ongoing cases, but I wanted you to have them. Proof that you tried to maintain a relationship despite everything. Proof that we failed you, not the other way around. I dream about the daughter I drove away. I wake up knowing I'll never get her back, but maybe someday I'll become someone worth knowing again. Love, if I'm still allowed to use that word, Dad. I plug in the flash drive with shaking hands. Hundreds of messages fill the screen. My attempts to share achievements met with dismissal. Sienna's lies forwarded without question. A digital record of systematic emotional abandonment. One email from 5 years ago stops me cold. I'd written about a promotion, excited to share good news. Dad's response, "That's nice, but Sienna is going through a tough time. Maybe tone down the bragging." I forward everything to our legal team. Some of it might help with ongoing cases. Then I sit back and try to process the strange grief of being proven right about something you wished you were wrong about. My phone rings. Dr. Patricia Vance, the psychiatrist who testified at Sienna's trial. Breanna, I'm calling about an unusual situation. I've been working with inmates at the federal facility where your sister is held. I can't break confidentiality, but I can say someone has been asking about you. They want to apologize. Sienna wants to apologize. I can't hide my skepticism. I can't confirm who, but I'm calling to see if you'd be open to receiving a letter. You're under no obligation to read it or respond, but sometimes these communications can be part of the healing process. Yours, not necessarily theirs. I agree, curiosity winning over caution. 3 days later, the letter arrives. Breanna, Dr. Vance says I should write this for my own growth, not expecting anything from you. She's probably right. I'm not good at admitting she's right. Prison is boring. That's the worst part. Not the food or the guards or the other inmates, but the endless time to think. I've been thinking about that blue box Mom found, about how I felt writing those journals. Powerful, in control, like I was the author of some great story where I was the hero and you were the villain trying to steal my spotlight. I see now that I was writing fiction. You were never the villain. You were just a kid, then a woman trying to exist. And I couldn't let you. Not because of anything you did, but because your existence reminded me that I wasn't special just for being born first. Dr. Vance uses words like narcissistic injury and external locus of control, fancy terms for saying I'm broken in ways that hurt everyone around me. She says, acknowledgement is the first step. So here's my acknowledgement. I destroyed our family because I couldn't stand sharing it. I framed you because I couldn't stand you succeeding. I felt joy in your pain because it made me feel powerful. I am exactly the monster you said I was in court. I don't expect forgiveness. Dr. Vance says that's not the point. The point is to acknowledge harm and commit to change. So I'm acknowledging. As for change, 19 more years is a long time to practice being human instead of whatever I was. Don't write back. I don't deserve your words, but know that for the first time in my life I see you, the real you, and you're everything I was too jealous to let you be. Sienna. I read it 3 times looking for the manipulation, the angle, the trap, but it reads like genuine recognition, perhaps the first honest thing she's ever written to me. I file it away, uncertain how to feel. Growth performance. Does it matter? That evening, I have dinner with James, the man I've been dating for 6 months. He knows my story. Couldn't avoid it given the documentary and ongoing media coverage, but treats it as just one part of who I am, not my entire identity. Rough day, he asks, noting my distraction. Strange day. Letters from people I never expected to hear from. Apologies I don't know what to do with. You don't have to do anything with them. Apologies are for the person giving them. You get to decide if and when you're ready to engage. His simple wisdom helps. James is a therapist himself specializing in trauma recovery. We met at a foundation fundraiser where he was presenting on financial abuse's psychological impact. Our first date was coffee that turned into a 4-hour conversation about resilience and recovery. Want to talk about it? He offers. Maybe later. Right now, I just want to be present, here, with someone who sees me as more than my trauma. Always, he says and means it. My phone buzzes. Emma texting from Dallas. Major win in the Morrison case prosecution. Used your framework for identifying family predators. Guilty on all counts. The Morrison case. Another golden child systematically destroying their family while parents enabled. But this time, caught early. This time, stopped before decades of damage. Each victory feels like retroactively saving my younger self. Good news, James asks, seeing my smile. Another family saved, another predator stopped. Yeah, good news. After dinner, we walk through Golden Gate Park. The fog has lifted, revealing a spectacular sunset. Other couples pass walking dogs, pushing strollers, living beautifully ordinary lives. A year ago, I couldn't imagine ever feeling this normal again. I've been thinking, James says carefully. My lease is up next month, and you mentioned your place feels too big for one person. Are you asking to move in? The idea sends both excitement and terror through me. Trust in intimate relationships doesn't come easily after growing up in my family. I'm suggesting we consider it. No pressure, just possibility. I think about the empty spaces in my apartment, both physical and metaphorical. About slowly learning to let people close again. About choosing vulnerability despite its risks. Let's talk about it, I say. Maybe start with drawer space and see how it goes. He laughs, understanding the magnitude of even that small step for someone who learned early that love came with conditions and betrayal came with smiles. Back home, I find a voicemail from Mom. She calls weekly now, careful conversations that dance around deep wounds while trying to build something new. Hi, sweetie. Just wanted you to know I finished the victim impact statement for the Johnson family. Charlotte says it might help their case. I remember things now, things I ignored when Sienna did them. Maybe sharing those memories helps balance the scales a little. Call when you can. Love you. She's been volunteering with the foundation using her teacher skills to help families document patterns of abuse. It's her form of amends, helping others see what she chose to ignore. Charlotte supervises her work, their relationship still formal but no longer hostile. I call her back, keeping the conversation light but warm. We discuss the Johnson case, her garden dad's progress in therapy. Normal mother-daughter topics that feel revolutionary after years of dysfunction. I saw a therapist on TV talking about family scapegoats, she says suddenly. She could have been describing you, describing what we did to you. I wanted to call the show and apologize to every scapegoat watching. Understanding is more important than apologies, I tell her. Use that understanding to help other families. I'm trying. We both are. Your father starts speaking at a parents' support group next week about how enabling one child's behavior destroyed our family. He's terrified but determined. That's brave of him. He says if one parent recognizes the pattern and changes course, it's worth the embarrassment. I wish we'd been that brave when it mattered. You're being brave now, that matters too. After we hang up, I pour a glass of wine and sit on my balcony, city lights spreading below. The foundation's annual report sits on the table. 217 families helped 43 successful prosecutions, 12 early interventions, preventing decades of abuse. Numbers that represent real people, real lives saved from what I endured. My phone shows messages from foundation families, updates on recovery photos of rebuilding lives, gratitude that still overwhelms me. Each success story rewrites my own narrative from victim to survivor to advocate. A text from Charlotte includes a photo of her garden. The lavender roses are in full bloom, more beautiful than ever. Thought you should see these. Next week marks 2 years since you walked back into my life. The garden has never been more alive. I saved the photo, planning to print and frame it. Beauty from difficult soil indeed. The last message of the night is unexpected. A LinkedIn request from someone named Thomas Matthews. The name stops my heart until I read the message. Hi, Breanna. I'm your half-cousin from your grandmother Charlotte's side. My mom is Emma's aunt. I'm a social worker in Seattle, and I've been following your foundation's work. Would love to connect and maybe collaborate. Family looking out for family the healthy way. More family, more connections. The circle Charlotte started continues to grow, replacing toxic bonds with chosen ones. I accept the request, curious about another branch of this recovering family tree. Tomorrow brings a full day. Morning meetings at Stratton Tech, afternoon sessions, reviewing foundation cases, evening plans with James. Next week includes the documentary screening, more media appearances, and the first national conference on family financial abuse. A life fuller than I ever imagined during those dark months of public humiliation. But tonight, I simply exist. A woman on a balcony sipping wine, no longer defined by the crimes committed against her. The scar tissue Dad mentioned has become strength. The empathy Sienna mocked has become purpose. The truth that destroyed my old life has built a better one. My phone buzzes one last time. A notification from the bank: the first restitution payment has been processed. It's a tiny fraction of what was stolen, but it represents something larger. Justice grinding slow, but certain accountability measured in dollars and decades. I raise my glass to the night sky, toasting silently, to survival, to chosen family, to lavender roses and unexpected love, to every scapegoat who'll find hope in our story. Most of all, to the truth that Sienna never understood: real power isn't in destroying others, but in rising, despite destruction. And rise we have, all of us, higher than our abusers ever imagined possible. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new families to help, new wounds to heal. But tonight, peace. Tonight, the simple victory of a life reclaimed. And that's more than enough. 2 years after the trial, the call comes at 3 in the morning. The harsh ring jolts me from sleep, James stirring beside me as I fumble for the phone. Unknown. Houston number. Ms. Matthews, this is Dr. Rodriguez at Methodist Hospital. Your father has had a massive heart attack. He's in critical condition. He's asking for you. The world tilts. Despite everything, the words hit like physical blows. Is he? He's stable for now, but the next 24 hours are critical. Your mother is here. She asked me to call you. James is already up, turning on lights, finding my suitcase. I'll book flights while you pack, he says, understanding without explanation. This is why I love him. He knows when to talk and when to just move. 4 hours later, I'm back in Houston, the city I swore I'd never return to. Charlotte meets me at the hospital, Emma having driven her despite doctors' orders about limiting stress on her own aging heart. He's conscious, but weak, Charlotte says, guiding me through familiar corridors. The doctors say he wore his heart out with stress and guilt, literally brokenhearted. Mom sits in the cardiac ICU waiting room, smaller than I remember. The stroke 2 years ago aged her, but seeing Dad fighting for his life has added another decade overnight. When she sees me, tears flow freely. You came, she whispers. I wasn't sure you would. Of course I came. She reaches for my hand tentatively, like I might pull away. I don't. Whatever our past, she's a woman watching her husband of 35 years fight for each breath. That transcends old wounds. He's been working so hard, she says. The speaking engagements, the foundation work, trying to make amends to every family Sienna hurt. His therapist warned him about burnout, but he said he had too much to atone for. Can I see him? The ICU is a symphony of mechanical breathing and electronic beeps. Dad lies surrounded by machines, looking fragile in ways that shake me. The man who once built houses with his bare hands now can barely lift a finger. His eyes open when I approach. Breanna. My name comes out as barely a whisper. You came. Don't try to talk. Save your strength. But he shakes his head weakly. Might not get another chance. Need to say, Dad, please. I see you. He interrupts each word, costing visible effort. Really see you, not the story Sienna told, not the daughter I failed, you, brilliant, kind, stronger than anyone should have to be. My daughter, my hero. Tears I didn't know I was holding release in a flood. Dad, built houses for 25 years. Nothing I built matters except the foundation you're standing on. You built it yourself, despite us, because of us. Proud, so proud. The machines beep urgently. Nurses rush in gently, moving me aside. He needs rest, one says kindly. You can come back in an hour. I stumble out emotions too large for my body. Charlotte guides me to a quiet corner where I sob like the child I never got to be. Messy, loud, unashamed. She holds me, murmuring comfort this grandmother who returned when everyone else failed. He's trying so hard, I manage between sobs. Why now? Why when it might be too late? Because facing death clarifies what matters, she says. And what matters to him is making peace with the daughter he wronged. Late is better than never, my dear one. Emma arrives with coffee and sandwiches no one can eat. We sit vigil, taking turns visiting Dad for the few minutes allowed each hour. He drifts in and out, but each time he wakes, he searches for me. Tell me about your work, he requests during one lucid moment. The real work, the families. So I tell him about the Martinez family we helped last month, how we identified the golden child's embezzlement before it destroyed 3 generations of restaurant ownership, about the teenage girl in Seattle who reached out after seeing our TikTok series on family financial abuse, about the foundation's new early intervention program in schools. Teaching children about financial boundaries, he murmurs, smart. Stop it before it becomes us. Mom listens from the corner, adding details from her volunteer work. I spoke to a parents group last week. 30 families, all struggling with toxic dynamics. Breanna's materials saved at least 5 from complete destruction. We did one thing right, Dad says, looking at me. We created you, even if we nearly destroyed you after. Dr. Rodriguez enters with test results. The damage is extensive but manageable with surgery. Triple bypass scheduled for tomorrow morning. Risky but necessary. I need to tell you something, Dad says when we're alone again, in case tomorrow doesn't go well. You're going to be fine. Maybe, but listen, I've been writing letters. Like Sienna's journals, but opposite. Documenting every time I chose wrong, every sign I ignored, every way I failed you. They're in my desk at home. If something happens, read them. Know that I finally understood. Finally saw the truth. Dad, stop talking like you're dying. We're all dying, Breanna. The lucky ones get to apologize first. That evening, while Dad rests, Mom and I have dinner in the hospital cafeteria. The same industrial food, fluorescent lights, and hushed conversations. I remember from her stroke 2 years ago. Time is a strange circle. He never stopped talking about you, she says quietly. Every therapy session, every support group meeting. How do I earn forgiveness from someone I don't deserve forgiveness from? That was his constant question. I don't know if it's about forgiveness anymore, I admit. It's about recognition, acknowledgement. He sees me now, the real me. That matters. Do you think... She hesitates, then pushes forward. Do you think we could try, really try, not to recapture what we never had, but to build something new? I don't know. Maybe, if he survives tomorrow. When he survives. Her correction is firm, allowing no other possibility. That night, James flies in from San Francisco. You don't have to, I start, but he cuts me off with a kiss. Partner means being there for the hard stuff too. Besides, someone needs to make sure you eat actual food and get some sleep. We get a hotel room near the hospital. I can't sleep. So James holds me while I talk through 28 years of complicated history. He's heard pieces before, but tonight I tell him everything. Every Christmas where Sienna's presence dwarfed mine. Every achievement dismissed. Every cry for help ignored. The hardest part, I say into the darkness, is that I still love them. After everything, I still want their approval, their recognition. How pathetic is that? It's not pathetic. It's human. We're wired to seek connection with our parents. The fact that you can still feel love after what they did shows your capacity for grace, not weakness. Grace, I repeat. Charlotte says the same thing. Wise woman, listen to her. Dawn comes too soon. Dad's surgery is scheduled for 7. We gather in the surgical waiting room. Mom Charlotte, Emma James, and surprisingly, Thomas, the Seattle cousin who drove through the night. Family shows up, he says simply when I express surprise. The real kind, anyway. 8 hours. 8 hours of waiting, pacing, pretending to read magazines. Charlotte leads us in meditation. Emma reviews legal documents to keep her mind busy. James holds my hand, steady presence in chaos. Finally, Dr. Rodriguez appears. The surgery went well. He's a fighter. Recovery will be long, but barring complications, he should make a full recovery. The relief is physical, dropping us all into chairs. Mom cries. Charlotte whispers a prayer. I feel something inside me unclench for the first time in 2 years. Dad wakes that evening, groggy but coherent. Did I miss anything? He jokes weakly. Just us wearing out the waiting room floor, I tell him. How do you feel? Like someone rearranged my insides, but alive. Grateful. Ready to do better. Over the following days, a routine develops. Morning visits before I work remotely on foundation business. Afternoon shifts with Mom while Charlotte rests. Evening conversations as Dad grows stronger. I want to show you something, he says on day 4, having me retrieve his tablet. He opens a document, a business plan. Matthews Family Foundation Satellite Office, Houston branch, focused on prevention education in schools. Dad, I can't undo the past, but maybe I can help prevent future Siennas. Work with at-risk youth, teach healthy family dynamics. Your mother and I want to fund it, run it, make it our life's work. You want to work for the foundation. With, never for, it's yours, you built it, but alongside if you'll have us. We've learned hard lessons. Maybe sharing them helps other families. I look at this man who broke my heart repeatedly, now offering his broken heart in service. I'll discuss it with the board. But Dad, this can't be about earning forgiveness. It has to be about the families we serve. I know, that's what the therapist keeps telling me. Do the work because it's right, not for personal absolution. He pauses. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't hope. Someday, I agree, but not today. Today is about your recovery and their needs. We build from there. Charlotte, who's been quietly knitting in the corner, speaks up. Forgiveness isn't a destination, William. It's a journey. Sometimes you walk together, sometimes parallel, sometimes apart. But as long as you're moving forward, there's hope. A week later, Dad is released with strict orders about diet, exercise, and stress management. I extend my stay to help coordinate his home care. Strange to be in my childhood home as an adult, seeing it through different eyes. The office Mom mentioned is revealing. Hundreds of printed emails, every communication we've had since the trial, photos from news coverage of foundation events, copies of families' thank you letters. He's built a shrine to understanding his failures. But more interesting are the letters he mentioned, notebooks filled with his scratchy handwriting. May 15th, saw a father yelling at his daughter in the store today. She reminded me of Breanna at 10, trying so hard to please, shoulders hunched against inevitable criticism. I wanted to shake him, tell him what he's risking. Instead, I gave her an encouraging smile. Small gesture, not enough, never enough. June 3rd, support group talked about invisible children. The ones who succeed despite neglect because they have to. Breanna was invisible to us. We only saw her through Sienna's lens. How do you apologize for not seeing someone for 28 years? July 22nd, Breanna's documentary aired again. Watched her describe Christmas 1998. I remember that Christmas. Thought Sienna deserved the computer more because she was older. Never questioned why Breanna's gifts were afterthoughts. She noticed. Of course she noticed. Children always do. Page after page of recognition, self-reflection, genuine learning. It's everything his therapy promised. Taking responsibility without excuses. You've done the work, I tell him that evening. Real work, internal work. Trying to. Dr. Mills says recognition is step 1, amends are step 2. Living differently is the rest of my life. What about Mom? Has she done this kind of reflection? Mom passing through with tea pauses. I keep voice recordings. Writing triggers my arthritis. 3 years of talking through every memory, every choice. Would you like to hear some? I'm not ready for that level of intimacy yet. Maybe someday. For now, knowing you're doing it is enough. The conversation shifts to practicalities. If they're serious about the Houston branch, we need structure. Emma draws up legal frameworks. Thomas offers to consult on program development. Charlotte suggests starting small. One school district, proven results, then expansion. You're all talking like I've agreed to this, I point out. Haven't you, Charlotte asks with that knowing smile. Your parents are offering to dedicate their remaining years to preventing what they caused. It's poetic justice. She's right, of course. By the time I fly back to San Francisco, plans are in motion. Dad will start with speaking engagements at schools once he's recovered. Mom will develop curriculum for parents. They'll fund the initial program from their retirement savings, what Sienna didn't steal. How do you feel about all this? James asks as we unpack in our now shared apartment. Your parents, essentially working for your foundation. Complicated, I admit. But isn't everything with family? They'll never be the parents I needed as a child, but maybe they can be the advocates other children need now. And you, what do you need? I consider the question. Time, distance, small steps, weekly video calls instead of daily crisis, shared work instead of forced intimacy, building something new on acknowledged ruins. That sounds healthy, and very you, turning pain into purpose. That night I dream of houses, not the one that collapsed under Sienna's destruction, but new ones, stronger foundations, transparent walls, rooms for chosen family and space for complicated grace. I wake to a text from Dad. First day of cardiac rehab. They say I have a strong heart after all. Just needed some repairs. Thank you for giving me a reason to get better. I don't respond immediately. Some messages need to settle before words come. But I save it adding to my own collection of documentation. Not evidence of crimes, but evidence of change. Maybe that's what reconciliation looks like. Not erasing the past, but building carefully on its ruins. Not forgiveness wrapped in a bow, but daily choices to allow growth. Not the family we should have been, but the family we're becoming. Charlotte was right about lavender roses growing in difficult soil, but she never mentioned they grow slowly, season by season, root by careful root. That's okay, we have time now. All the time we nearly lost stretching ahead like possibility. The foundation meeting that afternoon includes a new agenda item, Houston expansion. I present it neutrally, professionally. The board votes unanimously to approve contingent on measurable outcomes and regular oversight. Your parents' redemption arc could inspire others. One member notes, perpetrators who recognize their harm and work to prevent it. It's a powerful narrative. Powerful, complicated, uncertain. Very much like life after survival, but I'm learning that's enough. More than enough. It's everything. 5 years after that catastrophic wedding confrontation, I stand in a different venue wearing white lace instead of funeral black. The Fairmont, San Francisco sparkles with fairy lights and lavender roses. Charlotte's wedding gift, hundreds of them transformed into breathtaking arrangements. You ready? Emma asks, adjusting my veil one last time. As my maid of honor, she's taken her duties seriously, coordinating everything with military precision while keeping the mood light. More ready than I've ever been for anything, I tell her and mean it. The music starts and Charlotte appears at the door, elegant in navy silk. "Shall we?" she asks, offering her arm. At 81, she insists she's strong enough to walk me down the aisle, and I wouldn't have it any other way. "My parents?" I ask quietly. "Oh, it's seated in row 3 as requested. Close enough to be included, far enough to give you space. They understand." We begin the walk, 200 faces turning to watch. The front rows hold my chosen family, foundation colleagues, fellow survivors, the friends who stood by me during the darkness. Sarah Patterson flew in from Oklahoma with her whole family. The Chens closed their restaurant for the weekend to attend. Even Amanda Lou is here, the girl whose family we saved from their own Sienna, now a college graduate with plans to become a prosecutor. James waits at the altar, steady and sure, the man who saw my scars and chose to help heal them rather than run. Beside him stands his brother and Thomas, my Seattle cousin, who's become like a brother to me. As we process, I catch glimpses of the past 5 years reflected in the crowd. There's Dr. Mills, the therapist, who helped our whole family navigate the impossible. Rosa, now the foundation's chief financial officer, dabbing happy tears. The federal prosecutor who became a friend, the FBI agent who saved my life, the reporters who told my truth when lies threatened to bury me. And yes, there are my parents. Dad, 63 now, but looking healthier than he has in years. The cardiac rehab having given him new purpose. Mom beside him, silver-haired and clear-eyed, holding his hand like the lifeline it's become. They smile through tears, understanding this moment is a gift, not a given right. Charlotte kisses my cheek at the altar. "Your grandfather would be so proud," she whispers, "as am I." The ceremony is simple, personal. We've written our own vows, keeping them private until now. James goes first, his therapist's training evident in carefully chosen words. "Breanna, when we met, you were rebuilding a life from ashes. I've watched you transform pain into purpose survival, into service caution, into carefully given trust. You've taught me that strength isn't about never falling. It's about how you rise. I promise to stand beside you through whatever comes, to celebrate your victories and hold space for your struggles, to love not just who you are, but who you're becoming. You are my partner, my best friend, and the strongest person I know. I choose you today and always." My turn. The words I've practiced dissolve, replaced by pure truth. "James, you came into my life when I'd learned to be alone but was ready to be together. You've never asked me to be anyone but exactly who I am. You've held my trauma with gentle hands and my dreams with fierce support. You've shown me that love doesn't demand perfection. It offers patience. I promise to build a life with you based on truth, trust, and the kind of love that grows stronger through seasons. You are my safe harbor and my greatest adventure. I choose you with my whole healing heart." Now, the officiant says, Breanna and James have asked someone special to do a reading. Charlotte? Charlotte moves to the podium with surprising grace, pulling out a paper that trembles slightly in her aged hands. 5 years ago, she begins, I wrote in my journal about lavender roses, how they grow in difficult soil, how they bloom despite harsh conditions. I thought I was writing about flowers. I was wrong. I was writing about family. She looks directly at me. Real family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the grandmother who waits 12 years to be proven right. Sometimes it's the cousin you never knew existed. Sometimes it's the survivors who become siblings through shared pain. And sometimes, she glances at James, it's the person who chooses to love you after the headlines fade and the real work begins. Today we celebrate not just a marriage, but a garden in full bloom. Each of you here represents a seed, planted a relationship, tended a choice to grow toward light. Breanna has taken the rockiest soil imaginable and created something beautiful, not despite the difficulties, but because she learned to transform them into fertilizer for new growth. That is the miracle we witness today. Not that love conquers all, that's a fairy tale, but that love carefully chosen and consciously given can build something stronger than what trauma tried to tear down. May this marriage be like those roses, resilient, beautiful, and proof that the best things grow from the most challenging ground. There isn't a dry eye in the house. Even my father, who I've rarely seen cry, wipes his cheeks openly. We exchange rings, simple bands that James designed with tiny lavender rose engravings inside. With this ring, we say in unison, "I choose you." By the power vested in me, the officiant declares, "I now pronounce you married. You may kiss." The room erupts in celebration as James pulls me close. 5 years ago, I stood in a different crowd, publicly humiliated and alone. Today, surrounded by love I've earned and chosen, I kiss my husband while hundreds cheer our joy. The reception flows like champagne, effervescent and golden. The foundation families have created a video montage of all the lives changed, children saved, futures protected. Because of you, the screen reads as faces flash by, "We survived." "Time for toasts," Emma announces, taking the microphone with natural authority. "For those who don't know me, I'm Breanna's cousin. I met her during the worst time of her life, when her sister had stolen everything, including her family's faith in her. I watched her choose truth over comfortable lies, justice over revenge, and purpose over bitterness. Breanna, you've shown us all that surviving isn't about forgetting the past. It's about refusing to let it define your future. To the bride and groom, may your marriage be built on the foundation of truth you've both committed to living." Thomas follows with stories of working together at the foundation of watching me transform from wounded warrior to wisdom teacher. Sarah Patterson speaks about finding hope in my story, about her family's recovery paralleling mine. Even Amanda Liu takes the microphone now, confident and articulate, crediting me with saving her from decades of manipulation. Then Dad approaches the microphone. The room stills, everyone aware of our history. "I know I haven't earned the right to speak at my daughter's wedding," he begins, voice rough with emotion. "For 28 years, I failed the basic duty of a father, to see, protect, and cherish his child. I chose blindness because sight would have required action. I chose lies because truth demanded change." He looks directly at me. "But my daughter, this remarkable woman, chose grace when she had every right to choose vengeance. She let me learn, grow, and try to make amends when cutting me off would have been justified. Breanna, you've taught me that redemption isn't guaranteed, but must be earned daily through action. James, you're getting a wife who understands forgiveness as a process, not an event. Treasure her. She's the strongest person any of us will ever know." He raises his glass. "To Breanna and James, may your marriage be built on the truth I was once too coward to face." "Thank you," I mouth to him as he returns to his seat. He nods, understanding that those two words hold volumes. The evening continues with dancing laughter and the kind of joy that feels earned rather than given. Charlotte dances with surprising energy for her age, teaching James's nephews to foxtrot. Mom and Dad sway together, looking like the couple they're becoming rather than the one they were. During a quiet moment, I slip outside onto the terrace, needing air and perspective. The San Francisco Bay glitters below city lights like earthbound stars. I think about the journey from that Houston wedding to this one, the arrest trials, rebuilding, and careful reconstruction of family. "There you are." James finds me, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "Too much." "Just enough," I assure him. I needed a moment to absorb it all. "No regrets about inviting your parents?" "No, They've earned their place here even if it's complicated. The Houston program has saved 17 families already. They're doing the work. And Sienna, he asks carefully. We rarely speak of her, the wound still tender despite the years. In therapy, apparently. Dr. Vance sends updates. Still has 15 years left, but she's trying. Genuine change or long con, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Would you ever visit her? I don't know. Today isn't about her, though. It's about the life she tried to steal but couldn't. About the family she tried to destroy but only made stronger. About choosing love over fear. Oh, smart woman, he says, spinning me to face him. Have I mentioned you look absolutely stunning? Once or twice? I laugh, though I wouldn't mind hearing it again. We're interrupted by Emma calling us back inside for the cake cutting. It's a small cake by wedding standards, but perfect for us. 3 tiers decorated with sugar lavender roses and real gold leaf. Charlotte made the top tier herself, insisting her arthritis could handle 1 layer of my wedding cake. For luck, she says as we cut the first piece together, though you've already made your own. The photographer captures us feeding each other cake, laughing as frosting goes everywhere. Such a normal wedding moment. But nothing in my life has been normal. That's what makes this sweetness so profound. As the reception winds down, we make rounds thanking guests. Each conversation is a reminder of connection forged through truth. The FBI agents who became advocates, the prosecutors who became friends, the victims who became family. Be happy, Sarah Patterson whispers, hugging me tight. You've earned every bit of joy coming your way. Finally, it's time for our exit, but first one more tradition, the bouquet toss. I turn my back to the eager crowd, Charlotte's lavender roses heavy in my hands. Ready, I call, then launch it high. The bouquet arcs through the air, seeming to hang, suspended before falling into the surprised hands of Amanda Liu. The girl who reached out for help 4 years ago now stands confident and whole, clutching flowers that smell like possibility. Guess I'm next. She laughs, and the sound is everything. Proof that cycles can break, that patterns can change, that the next generation doesn't have to repeat our pain. James and I run through a tunnel of sparklers held by our chosen family. The getaway car waits decorated with cans and ribbons and a sign Thomas made, just married and just beginning. As we drive away, I turn for one last look at the celebration continuing without us. My parents stand with Charlotte now, the 3 of them watching us go with expressions of hard-won peace. The foundation families cluster together, bonds forged in survival, now celebrating joy. The lavender roses frame it all, blooming impossibly beautiful in the San Francisco night. No looking back, James asks, navigating through the city toward the airport and our honeymoon. Always looking back, want I correct, but not living there. The rearview mirror is small for a reason, to check where you've been while focusing on where you're going. Oh, where are we going? Forward, together, into whatever comes next. He reaches over to squeeze my hand wedding ring, catching the streetlights. That's all we need to know. 5 years ago, I thought my sister had destroyed any chance I had at happiness. I thought the family who betrayed me had stolen my ability to trust. I thought surviving meant living small, safe alone. I was wrong about all of it. Survival isn't the end goal. It's the beginning. The real victory comes in what you build after who you choose to become, how you transform poison into medicine for others. Every family saved through the foundation, every child protected from their own Sienna, every parent who learns to see clearly, they're all proof that pain can have purpose. My phone buzzes with messages I'll read later. Congratulations, photos loved from the family I've built and the one I've carefully rebuilt. For now, though, I silence it all. This moment belongs to James and me, to the future we're writing together, to the love that grows in even the rockiest soil. Charlotte was right all those years ago. Beautiful things can grow in difficult ground. You just have to be willing to tend them season after season with patience and hope, and the kind of faith that only comes from having survived the worst and chosen to build something better. I am. We are. And this is only the beginning. Thank you for joining me on Breanna's journey from betrayal to triumph. If you or someone you know has experienced family financial abuse or toxic family dynamics, remember that your story matters, your pain is valid, and help is available. Sometimes the family we choose is stronger than the family we're born into. Sometimes the truth, however painful, sets us free to build something better. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who didn't believe in you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, please subscribe, and share it with others who might need to hear that survival is possible, that truth matters, and that even the deepest betrayals can become the foundation for the most beautiful transformations. Remember, you are stronger than you know, worthy of respect and real love, and never alone in your journey toward healing. Until next time, keep choosing truth, keep building your chosen family, and keep believing that the best chapters of your story may still be unwritten.